Yeah, boys. Get in the boat, Big Daddy. That is a mega bass.
It's the Bassmaster Elite at Lake Okeechobee, brought to you live by Hook.
Back with you, and this was just moments ago, Tim Horton. Another giant for Tim Horton. We're going to go right from that. We'll be back to look at that one again. You can bet your life. But time for our Toyota Midday Report. Tommy Sanders, Davey Hyde back with you. Let's take a look at our leader to start this day, Ott Depot. And Davey, he had the numbers going again today, but just the size did not show up early this morning.
No, they really didn't. But, he had those 2 key bites yesterday. He still got plenty of time. Obviously, when we were in our break, these guys were not. They're catching a lot of fish. Yeah, I think he's going to come across a couple big ones. I love watching him. He's swimming a jig. He's fishing that frog. It's just a matter of time. I think there's a better fish.
Better fish right there. And Ott Depot, the only angler over 30 pounds yesterday. Brad Height, one of 2 anglers doing something a little bit different, a bladed jig. Out here today in the morning, slow for Brad Height.
Yeah, he's been catching a lot of fish and some quality fish. Caught that one on a Cinco, but most of them have been coming on a bladed jig. And, I still got confidence that Brett's going to do well. Like we were talking earlier, he's in his wheelhouse. He's going to catch it.
Stephen Browning started this day in second place, but 4 pounds behind Ott Depot, but he didn't waste any time getting started, putting the numbers in the boat.
Speaking of vibrated jigs, Stephen's putting on a clinic today. He actually catching them better than Brett was this morning. Seemed to be around some active fish this morning, catching quality ones. There again, it's just a matter of time one of these guys catches, a 7-8 pounder like they did yesterday.
Stephen Browning unofficially at this point, still hanging in there in 5th place, trying to stay in the top 5. That's an important task for day number 2. Only the top 51 will make it over to day number 3.
It looked like Stephen, he started out this morning with a black blue jig, vibrating jig, chatterbait type. And changed over to green pumpkin, and he's catching a lot more fish just with the color change.
So Stephen Browning, a little bit better luck with the bladed jig, the vibrating jig, but Tim Horton's the one who put on the big show this morning. We wanted somebody to go big, and Tim Horton stepped up and took on the challenge.
This is what we live for, and this is a game-changing fish. When you come to Florida to land that 8-pound fish and you're in the lead, you're in 1st or 2nd place, versus if that fish comes off right there, it can change your whole day, can change your tournament, can change the whole elite season, one bite at the Big O.
Tim Horton started this day in 3rd place, but considerably 9 pounds behind Ott Depot.
Make up ground in a hurry there. I think that's an 8-pounder.
Absolutely. Well, that's your Toyota Midday Report. There's quite a bit to report as we just saw coming out of our break, our hour-and-a-half break. Tim Horton striking again, so we'll take another look at that, you can be sure. Hummingbird Lay of the Lake one more time. Let's take a look at it. Lake Okeechobee, the giant, the inland sea, they call it, in the state of Florida. Biggest freshwater lake inside, totally inside the boundaries of the United States. Everything else is a great lake, and boy, just a legendary place and different from any place else.
It is. It's obviously legendary. I remember Roland Martin, doing shows here when I was just a kid, and that was a long time ago, Tommy. But, the key areas are really no secret anymore. The Monkey Box area, South Bay, up around Kings Bar, you have S&S, you got Pelican Bay, out from Red Island. These places are no secret. The guys that are catching them have figured out the key pieces of vegetation, whether it's Timmy Horton flipping those reeds, whether it's Brett Hyde and Stephen Browning fishing that chatterbait over the hydrilla. The key is to figure out exactly what those fish are relating to. it's no secret anymore. They're looking for clear water and vegetation. But the guys, there's lots of guys in these areas. The guys that are catching them are the ones that figure out those key little different things. And once they find them, just like I mentioned with Timmy, you know, you can cover a lot of water, and you need to be able to do that on Lake Okeechobee because there's a lot of water to cover.
Timmy Horton, who's certainly made the biggest fireworks that we've seen today, has been among this group that we're looking at the most left alone of all. I don't know whether that's going to play a factor in, whether it's going to serve him better throughout the next couple of days, but so far it has to be a good thing for him.
It absolutely has to be a good thing, and you know, I like his chances because there's not many boats around him. He's not getting a lot of bites, but all you need is 5. You get so caught up in numbers. We all like to catch fish. It's cool to catch 30 fish, but there's guys that'll catch 30 fish in this tournament and weigh in 10 pounds. You know, if you only need to catch 5, you want to catch 7 or 8, you know, just a few more. But just those big fish like Timmy has been able to catch the last 2 days, they're game changers, the ones you've got to have on Okeechobee.
Take a look at this big one we just saw one more time. This was coming out of the break. This happened right before we came back after our hour-and-a-half break into our 3-hour session of Bassmaster Live that starts right now.
These pictures of Timmy catching these big fish look very similar to the 2012 pictures, flipping those reeds. I don't know why more guys aren't catching those big fish. Obviously, Timmy's got something very special figured out.
It's like you said, Davey. Hi, Timmy Horton's a guy that, you know, he's been close so many times, and when he gets into them, he can exploit them. He's a guy who's got that ability. If he's on them, he'll put them in the boat.
He really, I'll never forget that tournament where he ate pizza the last few hours of the day. You know, when he gets them figured out, he can sure put them in the boat.
Timmy Horton, our unofficial leader right now. Bass Track leaderboard has him at somewhere around 44, 45 pounds.
I think that's low. You know, he caught that fish earlier. His first bite today looked like the 8-pounder, and that's what he started with yesterday, an 8-pounder, and they put it in as 6. You know, and I'm certainly a long way from the Lake Okeechobee, but that fish certainly looked like an 8-pounder to me, not a 6. That looked like a 6 there, and
Boy,
that's
sure,
his third
it
fish.
had to be a 6. You just, unless Tim has shrunk through the years, unless he's gotten smaller and those fish look bigger.
I think it's the beard.
It could be. Such would tell you that.
Another thing, you know, as always, when you're flipping thick vegetation or wood, being able to land those fish, and he's been fortunate so far. I've had tournaments at Okeechobee where you get the 1 or 2 key bites. You're not going to get 10 8-pound bites during the day. You're going to get 1 or 2, 3 if you're extremely fortunate, being able to land those fish. And that 8-pounder he caught this morning, he was pretty fortunate. That fish got wrapped up. He got down there, couldn't get his hands quite on him. That fish could have come off so easy.
It was touch and go for a little while. It was a pretty good wrestling match, actually.
Just a side note, look who has jumped into the top 5 with David Fritz, a 20-pound bag. Pretty impressive from a legend newcomer.
It's great to see David Fritz. I think getting back on the Elite Series has been like the fountain of youth to him. He caught him good at Cherokee, and he's hopped in the top 5 here. He's actually had some good events here. To be a guy that cranks,
yeah.
You know, he figures out a way to get him to bite a plug here where not a lot of people do.
Classic North Carolina cranker, David Fritz. This would be his second cut in a row, wouldn't it? Right?
Yeah, he snuck into the cut at Cherokee, but he moved up on that 3rd day, so he gained an extra, 15 points that he wouldn't have if he was, finished 1 spot below.
You see Ashley's just made a little move with a 6-pounder. About 18 total for the day, and he's in the top 10.
Man, one of those big ones was right where we were yesterday.
Yep, not by himself anymore, Timmy Horton.
No.
Look at Dean Rojas there
No.
going to work. Yeah, that's a new development right there, and that's a good one, too.
You know, earlier I mentioned the top right corner of the screen there from Timmy. There was a boat, and it had to be Rojas because it was a Skeeter Yamaha wrap boat, and we saw a picture of him earlier. It looked like a 9 or 10 pounder he was holding up. So Timmy's got a little company, and there's obviously big fish in that area. You know, Rojas is making a move also.
Yeah, expect on basis of that one, Dean Rojas to bust into the top 5 right now. Actually, James Overstreet just texted us and alerted us to that fact, and no sooner than the camera looks up and there's Rojas catching one.
You know, we've been talking about all morning, you know, and I just said I like Timmy's chances not being that many people around him. Just one or two boats can affect the way you're fishing. And in Florida, you need to keep doing what's working. And obviously, Timmy's had it figured out to this point. He's dialed in on certain type vegetation. But then if you notice, when he flips into place, he raises his rod up and down, you know, yo-yoing that bait, trying to make that fish react. And you see a guy close to you catch a 10-pounder like Rojas has. I don't know if he was inside of Timmy when he caught that one. But that can change the way you're working that bait and really distract you.
Brett Height with what may be a small keeper.
Oh, that's not one that we're after right here, but we got to do something. The big ones are just not biting today. But we'll get them.
Fourth fish there for Brett Height. None of them have any size so far.
Boy, that's surprising.
That's really, it's
really
a shocker.
Is. And you tell yourself, maybe they're just not biting yet today. He's not looking at the 4 cameras that we are, is he?
No, absolutely.
But Browning's, you know, he's picked up a flipping stick. This is the first time today I've seen him, you know, he's been throwing that chatterbait too, but the wind just, there's a little chop on the water, but just not enough for those vibrating jigs.
I think it would need more over the 5-6 mile an hour type wind.
You know, you don't want too much, but you won't just, you know, that sort
you
of thing.
You got to break up the surface in order so that they can't really make it that well.
Yep.
But you would think.
And it looks like odd he's gotten in where the water's really calm. You know, just looking from here, it looks like he might be looking around for some bed fish. See the way his head's spinning back and forth, along with flipping. He's looking for one on the bed.
Be able to come in here and scratch one or two out. I mean, the water is gorgeous.
That's definitely what Ott's doing. You see his head. He's looking for one on the bed. Fishing while he's doing it, but.
You think that's a common way some guys approach it,
Sort
knowing they
of
can
has
catch?
a mucky bottom to it, but.
Timmy's hooked up.
Horton.
I mean.
All right, number 5.
Number 5?
Number 5.
He's got over 20
Wow.
for sure.
Know what we wanted, we'll take it. Love it.
That's a good feeling. What he's doing, he's pumping out his live well and going to put water in both to cull and put his tags on. That's a good feeling, especially when, you know, I think he's got a 6 and an 8 in there.
Oh my gosh.
That looks like the smallest fish he's caught, put in his boat today.
Even at that, he may have 22 pounds
Yep.
right now. We don't know.
Yep. He hasn't changed the color of bait, the bait. He's done the same thing all day, which is, I'm sure, what he did yesterday. He's dialed in on one thing and one thing only.
Ronnie attributed some of his success today to that new yellow jersey. Did you not, Ronnie?
I think it's a good change. It looks real good.
Obviously, it's what works.
I mean, from our guesstimation, Davey and Tommy, it looks like Timmy has an 8, a 6, 2 3-pounders roughly, and then this 2-pounder. So that's 22 pounds,
Yep. Thought he was going to talk to us a little bit there. I was wanting to hear a little more.
Give us a little Tim.
About the bait.
Yeah. I don't know if you're in the same spot with a guy who just rolled out a picture of him holding a 10-pounder. You may be onto something.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Davey, what I was wanting to say before he hooked up was, you see clouds and fog this morning, and you got Stephen Browning, throwing a bladed jig, Ott throwing top water, and now if you look in the background, it looks like it's bluebird skies, and now Ott's flipping, and so is Browning. Do you think that's kind of like a way to get an extra bite?
Oh, it's just they know that chunking and winding pattern is it just dies with the wind, and there's pre-spawn fish, there's spawning fish, and there's post-spawning fish. You just got to change up a little bit. You see Brett Hyde, he's sticking, like I mentioned, I thought he would stick. He's going to go down with that ship if it goes down. Hopefully it will not. He'll catch him a big one or two. But if you also notice, he's where you see the most wind. He's going to move, if he's got an area where he's got some confidence in, that's got some wind in it, he will move to that. It's a huge, huge deal to have some wind.
Depot hooked up, doesn't look like he's too excited about that one there.
No, so at least 2 swims. Just a hook on that fish.
A little trouble hearing Ott right there, but obviously, like you say, Davey, he's found some super calm water, and from the looks of it, he's looking for some bedding fish out there.
Yeah, and just like Timmy catches an 8-pounder, flipping those reeds, Ott can catch, see one. They're really harder to see at Lake Okeechobee than most lakes in Florida, because even the clear water has that dark tannic look, and you'll see a light spot. It looks almost orange, but it's a sandy hard bottom, which is what those fish want to spawn on. It's hard to find on Lake Okeechobee. When you stick your rod tip down, in most places the rod tip will just go like in quicksand, just soft bottom, and that's not where those fish want to be. That's certainly not where they're going to spawn. They're looking for the harder sandy bottoms. That's the areas like the Monkey Box and over in South Bay and Tin House, Harney Pond, those places that have that harder bottom where those fish want to spawn.
Yeah, that's water. You're right. It looks like iced tea down there, as it does in many of those lakes down in that part of the world. Speaking of, which supports great wildlife, great fish and wildlife, and we got some different sort of wildlife to take a look at right now. Of course, one of our favorite creatures, Dave Mercer.
Mr. Wildlife.
We're going to talk to first. And Dave, tell us where you are. And obviously, you've changed locations, and what in the world is going on there?
Guys, I am somewhere where no Canadian should be. I mean, I'm literally in Jurassic Park right now. We're in Gator Rama, and you come to Florida, I mean, you got to see some gators, and that one wants to see me a little bit too much right there. Ben, what is the deal here? How many gators are around us right now?
I would say there's probably about 15 to 25 alligators in this pond, about 27 American crocodiles in the other pond. On the farm here at Gator Rama, we have about 3,000 alligators, about 300 crocodiles. But we're going to feed about 15 to 20, 10 to 14-foot alligators.
We're going to feed them using sticks, right?
No, I got a rubber glove for you.
Oh, yeah, well, no glove, no love.
Whoa, no love. So she doesn't like me using that.
They like that joke. They like that one, not like your others.
They like me using that joke. So, are you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm right-handed.
I'm going to give you a glove, put it on your left hand just in case. No, you can put it on your right.
All right. Well, I'll put it on my left. I mean, I got to hold the mic. Here we go. Safety first. I mean, I had an airboat this morning, and I had a life jacket, and I'm feeding gators with the rubber glove. Perfect. I mean, nothing bad. Oh, good. That thing's got no Abdullah Oblongata.
It's certainly not. Yeah. You're going to save his hand.
Throw it in there.
Oh, my God.
The first difference between gators and crocs. Alligators have a wide snout. Crocodiles are going to have a narrow snout. Come on up. Or actually, you feed them.
Okay. Well, so I'm all right. Hey, what's up, dude? Okay. Well, a bigger piece. Thank you. I was thinking the exact same thing. Oh, good God! He missed it.
Throw it in there.
I know, it's like a topwater. I ripped it out of his mouth. I'm an idiot. I always wait to feel the hit. Oh my! Oh, look at this. We got up. Come on. Don't be fearful. Okay. I can do this. I'm not scared at all. As you can see, a professional. Ben, where do I rate? I mean, on all, easy now. She is not little. On all gator feeders, where do I rate?
Well, right now you're 1 for 2, so that's pretty good.
Okay.
I usually go for like 5 for 10.
Okay.
So, I mean, you're about on par with me, and I've been doing this for 2 days.
That's awesome. I'm glad I got an experienced guy here. Okay.
Go ahead.
Let's. I want to feed one again. This is awesome. This never gets old.
You do better with the bigger pieces.
Oh, a big bloody piece. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
That's actually paprika.
Paprika.
Yeah, they like paprika.
Are you lying to me right now?
Probably.
This is the. Oh, all right, now you did interrupt me there.
No, you're supposed to throw
It's as rattled as I've ever seen it.
Okay, well, just give me another. I'll nail it. I will nail it. Look at this thing right there. It's a human.
You won't jump up that high. You can get your hand down here.
Oh, look at he's eating.
Grandpa. Come on.
He's not going to jump?
You can give it to the small one if you want. Come on up.
Boom! My kids think I'm cool right now. When we edit this, it's going to look like I know what I'm doing.
Cool. I think you do know what you're doing.
All right.
But do you know the next difference between alligators and crocodiles?
I do know that they have a thinner snout. I know
The
that.
alligators have a wide snout. The crocodiles have a narrow snout. The next difference is actually the color. The easiest way, in my opinion, to tell them apart is the color. If you look at the alligators are black. Crocodiles are brown. That just has to do with where they're found. You find alligators like Snickers here in the lakes, rivers, swamps of Florida. So if alligators are
Snickers.
black, Snickers, yeah.
Why Snickers?
Because he likes Snickers.
Oh, okay, simple.
And then there's also Reese's. You want to feed Reese's? Come on up here, Reese's.
Reese's.
Reese's, yeah.
Where was? Oh no! This guy's found me. Is it? Oh, now that was his fault. Okay, just so you know.
Yeah, you did his mouth. There's Reese's here. You want to feed Reese's?
Yeah, Reese's. Come here, you little cutie. Oh yeah.
He's getting better, Tommy.
He's getting better, but we saw that one was not the alligator's fault.
They say
We were
getting
looking,
better, but we
Dave,
got
even though the
1
other guy
minute
was
to go
looking
here.
away.
What else can you do when you're here?
You can let them rip a piece of chicken out of your mouth.
I'll do it.
Just bite the chicken like this. No. We can have you sit on the back of like a 6-7 foot alligator.
Oh no, I'm not going to do that. Not going to do that.
What was that, Mom?
Uncle Waiter, see
You can
wants to
go-
know what you can do at Gator Rama.
No, we can't do it. I'm what?
Oh,
Why don't you ask my mom? She knows everything.
He's going to give you a plug for what people
Oh,
can
what
do
else can you do here? You can sit on the back of a.
Hey, don't argue with your mother. I'll get you to the Gators, dude.
Me too. No, actually, here at Gator Rama, you can sit on the back of a 7 to 8 foot alligator. We also have Uncle Waders, where you can go in there and catch little 3 foot alligators, and you can also do a feed experience that Dave is doing, to where you actually get to feed the alligators and let them jump up out of the water. So if any of you guys want to sign up, let me know and we can do
Very,
that.
very cool. That's what you can do right here. Gator Rama. It is absolutely awesome. Lake Okeechobee full of these bad boys. Be in a front row seat right here at Gator Rama. And hey, protective gloves, nothing to worry about.
Absolutely. You look completely unrattled there. No, wait, you look more rattled than I've ever seen you in my life, Dave Mercer. He sounds like after Jimmy Fallon tells a joke, can't even get a word out. That's what Mercer sounded like right
I've
there.
never seen him like that.
Golly, that was incredible. Gator Rama. I think Dave's done this deal where you swim with the dolphins before. Maybe we'll get him to do the deal where he kind of swims with the gators. That'd be good.
That's fun stuff to watch, but while we were watching that, I think some guys caught a big fish or two.
Yeah, let's have a look. Back out. A likely suspect would be this guy, Timmy Horton. It's moments ago.
Stay on there. Oh, stay on.
Oh, man.
Oh, yes. That'll go.
You know, you're seeing all these other guys that had the big stringers yesterday catching a lot of fish, but not a single one of them has caught a good fish.
No.
And just like yesterday, Timmy Horton, except for that one, and he's about to cull it, everybody has been a big fish. And, you know, every year when we go to the Big O, there's one guy that gets around nothing but big fish.
Well, also moments ago, that was Timmy Horton from just moments ago. This was moments ago at Defo.
There's that big one on that Terminator frog that I told you about.
Oh, yeah.
Love this stuff. Oh, yeah.
It's hooked under the chin on a frog. Look at
Oh,
that.
Wow.
Under the chin.
I've never caught one like that before in my life on a frog. That's why it felt like it was 10 pounds. But it will cull. May have been one I caught yesterday. He's got a.
I think because he took his sandals off. His
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. He
elevation
was
of
like,
his rod,
it was
you know,
like
I
half
talked
an
about
inch
the
off.
rod angle. Yeah, it was a half inch off, and it was under the you know.
These guys are precise, but I had no idea. Defo. Timmy Horton scoring big while we're watching Gators.
Couple big fish. KVD got a 6-pounder, but he's got some work to do to make the cut. And Cliff Prince just got a 6.5.
Cliff Prince, who had a great day yesterday.
You know, we were talking at the break. You know, I felt like it seemed like it got a little slow kind of when the wind laid and the sun first started coming out.
Right.
Things kind of died, but that sun's out now, and we're seeing more big fish come. And you know, the area that Timmy's in, and you know, Dean Rojas has caught a 10 and looked like a 6. Lots of big fish in that area, and the good thing I mentioned about being able to land these fish, it seems like some of this stuff, a lot of the stuff that Timmy is flipping to is small clumps, which is a lot easier to land those fish in those smaller clumps.
Y'all let footage of Ish Monroe from 2012. He's like inside a teepee trying to land these restless fish around.
And you're going to lose a few of them because it's
Yeah.
just thick and thick clumps. Some of them would be 30 or 40, 50 yards long. There were guys that would, with their outboard engine, drive into these things and sit down. Is the only way you could get to them. Let things settle down a little bit and fish around and catch them. They're tougher to catch like that. But actually, since there's a lot less vegetation like this, these reeds, if you can find the area that they're using, they're a lot easier to land once they do bite. They're easier to get to bite. Everything about them is easier if you find that key little area like he's obviously found.
Davey, I know a lot of these are reaction bites purely from spawning fish, but what's in the diet of these bass down here?
Well, a lot of those, like you say, they're spawning fish and they're just protecting their beds, but they eat a lot of bluegill when they're up there this time of year. Those bluegill are up there spawning also. Shiners,
Shad,
probably
of course,
more
yeah.
so than anything. The shad spawn going on a little more offshore, but I'd say golden shiners and bluegill will probably be the primary thing. Those fish around the reeds where Timmy is fishing. But they're not so much feeding. You notice his rod when he pitches in a place, he's raising his rod 3 to 5, 6 times
to aggravate
that fish or make it just react.
Do you agree that last keeper by Tim Horton was a 5-pounder roughly?
Yep.
That's what it was put in as. So he's up to 23 pounds 6 ounces according to that. So it could be closer to 24 and a half, 25 pounds based on the margin.
So his lead could be almost 10 pounds if it's at the upper end of that estimation, right, Ronnie?
Yeah, unofficially for sure.
Yeah.
And we're right there. I mean, we don't want to. It's 2 days. It's a day and a half into the tournament, but he's almost at 50 pounds even. He'll be at 50 pounds even. So we're halfway to the Century Club if he can keep this pace up for 2 more days. Or if he busts a 30-pound bag, he won't have to catch that much.
I was one of the few that said that it would take over 100 pounds to win this event.
Was that you? Remember, like it never happened. Wait a minute.
I didn't hear anything.
Jesse called up, Tacarante called up another 5 ounces. He's a little bit closer to that 30-pound mark.
Again, sometime since we took our break, our hour-and-a-half break, Tim Horton been joined by Dean Rojas in that area right there. Obviously, a lot of the big fish we've seen today have come from there.
Yeah, that one that we saw Rojas catch, they put in as a 6-pounder. That got him over 21.
Oh, the one we saw him boat to boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing that's interesting, I'd like to ask Timmy, but I'm going to go out on a limb here. In the years past, Brandon's got a good one there. Nope, smaller fish. The years past when you saw guys like in 2012 flipping that really thick stuff, the reeds and the hyacinths, that sort of thing, they were using tungsten weights that were 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces. When this cover is not as thick, you're going to use, from a 3/4 ounce to maybe an ounce, ounce and a quarter, which helps your strike to land ratio too, because you don't have that big weight in front of the hook when you're setting the hook. So everything about what Timmy's doing is going to give him, a better chance to land those fish than when we were here in 2012, which is a good thing. I'm shocked that a Chris Lane, Bobby Lane, Ish, some of those guys didn't find these fish, because I know they fish this stuff all around that lake. That's what they do.
Yeah.
It could be a timing thing, that Timmy, the day of practice that he found this area, was just, they were on.
That's crazy. Like you mentioned, Chris Lane's 4 fish for 7 pounds. Ish Monroe 4 fish for 4 pounds.
Ooh, yeah.
And they're in the 70s to 80s right now.
Yeah. These guys are all good. They're really, really good. And it's such a fine line between catching 7 pounds and catching 25 pounds.
Defoe, we think, looking at him there. Timmy Horton catching him big time. Stephen Browning catching him steady all through this day. B-High trying to, and steady there, Dave Mercer.
That wasn't Dave Mercer's hand.
That was not, no, it would have missed the alligator if it was Dave Mercer. Look at that, was his one shot. That was his one strike he threw all day at Gator. What was it called? Gator Junction? Gator Rama.
Gator Rama.
That's where they are. Talk about Gator Rama. That's Gator Rama right there. Sorry, folks.
Bassmaster Rama.
Wrong Gator Rama. That's the real one. Timmy Horton. Going big at the Big O. That's all we can ask for. That's everything we hope. Young bass fan enjoying it as well.
Youngest viewer, 2 days old. That's awesome.
Timmy Horton looking for his first Bassmaster Elite Series win since 2007. A long way from here. The other end of the eastern seaboard at Lake Champlain.
He's going to be tough to beat. He's really going to be tough to beat. He's catching the right kind of fish. He's in an area of the lake that produces 30-pound bags.
Taking a break, we'll be right
Truck
back.
Cap's Bassmaster Elite at Lake Okeechobee is brought to you by Berkeley, Hook, Humminbird, Mercury, Minn Kota, and by Nitro Boats.
Man, it's slow today.
Yep.
Mom, I caught a fish.
Good job, sweetie.
Hey, what kind of lure is that?
It's a Livingston. They have electronic bait fish sounds that activate as soon as they hit the water. Easiest way to catch a fish.
Hey, thanks.
Fishing fans, make plans to be at the 2017 Geico Bassmaster Classic, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. March 24th through the 26th in Houston, Texas. See 52 of the world's best anglers weigh in their catch from Lake Conroe at Minute Maid Park, home of the Houston Astros. A weigh-in show like never before, and one you've got to see in person. Check out the biggest outdoors expo in B.A.S.S. history, featuring the latest in fishing gear, giveaways, and more. Fun for the whole family, and all events are free. Join us in Houston for the Geico Bassmaster Classic and be a part of the most exciting 3 days in fishing, period.
Hey, thanks, Dave.
Out of office?
Oh, man. Hi, this is Skeet.
Skeet, out of office?
Dude, don't be mad because I thought of it.
What?
I gotta go. I got someone on the line. Go to teamgtfishing.com to check out my real job.
We're supposed to be working!
I am working!
You're watching the Bassmaster Elite at Lake Okeechobee, brought to you live by Hook.
Plenty of time for big doings before weigh-in time. Meantime, we are watching what we call our Raffle of 4 live. The anglers we're watching today, about Brett Height started this day in 4th place, 23 pounds and change on day number 1.
Brett's always a threat when you come down south. This time of year, got vegetation, and he's throwing that vibrating jig.
And out here since 2014 with the Elite Series and has done very, very well. 3rd place, Tim Horton, the guy who's popped the most fireworks today.
He really has. He's on the right deal, and a lot of people didn't know or have forgotten he won here in 2004 in an Open. He's caught him here before, and he's definitely on the winning pattern this week.
26 pounds on day number 1 for Tim Horton. He's closing in on that very quickly here on day number 2. Stephen Browning always can be trouble for the rest of these guys down in Florida, and had a great day 1, 26, almost 27 pounds. Going to have to get on his horse to get up to that number today.
Catching a lot of fish. We've seen him catch fish after fish. Just hasn't had the quality bites that he had yesterday, but we still got time.
Ott Defo, a fantastic day yesterday. The only angler among this 110 angler field to top 31 pounds. He did that, took a 4-pound lead over the rest of the field, but it didn't take the rest of the field long to catch up to him. He's still hanging in there.
Another one of those guys, he's caught lots of fish today, just don't have those 8-pounders like he had yesterday.
Ott Defo, a guy with momentum, won the last regular season event of 2016, the Bassmaster Elite Series. Seems like every time we come back from a little break, we say, moments ago, this was Tim Horton. So, moments ago, this was Tim Horton.
You know, this is fun stuff. Not only are you smelling a victory, but it's just fun. I don't care if you're fishing a Bassmaster Elite tournament or if you're just out there, it is fun. He's using probably 60, 70, maybe even 80-pound braid, heavy hook, heavy rod, big bait, big weight, and catching big bass.
As Ronnie Moore pointed out, though, that's really only his 7th bite of the day.
Yep.
He's making the most of it.
It's all you need, though. It's hard to think going out on Lake Okeechobee, one of the premier big fish bass fisheries in the country, that you only need to catch 7 or 8 fish. But keep in mind, you can only weigh in 5.
That's it.
And at the end of the day, if Stephen Browning doesn't find some big ones, you know, he'll go in having landed 30 fish and may only have 12 to 14 pounds. Timmy Horton getting 7 bites, and I think he's got over 25.
How hard is it to try to manage your spot? We always talk about managing fish, but with Tim, you know, anybody can catch 30 pounds, so you want to get that mark, but you have Dean Rojas in your area as well, you know, catching just as good a fish.
Well, the good thing about Timmy not needing to manage so much, only having 1 or 2 other boats in the area, and that's a big area that fish migrate into, I don't think you know 2 fishermen can beat it up too much. Unlike those, you know, Browning and Brett Hyde and several of those other guys that are catching them. There's lots of fishermen, and I think you got so many fishermen in there that they're basically catching those fish right when they move up. But and the other thing here, when you own Lake Okeechobee, is 25 pounds enough. Yesterday it wasn't. I mean, you just got to keep catching them. You got to keep catching them.
Our 2 anglers on the right in this 4-way quad split here are obviously looking for bedding fish here. And you say that Okeechobee, despite the tannic quality of the water, comes up as a white sand bottom when you see a bed like that?
In certain areas. These areas that traditionally you catch fish in, and that's part of the reason. We said clear water, but they need hard bottom. Bass adapt really, really well to whatever, but they can't spawn on that soft, mucky bottom. Mm-hmm. They can't make a bed. The more they fan, the deeper it just goes with no end. They'll get up on one of these clumps of these reeds, and that's what a lot of these fish are doing. That's why they're so close, not only for cover or for staging. Some of them actually spawn on the roots of these reeds or
roots,
the pads and that sort of thing. So they use them, you know, they just adapt to as best they can, but they really want that water quality.
I know a decade ago they had a program down here, much like they did at Toho a decade ago. Get those bulldozers out there and just peel that bottom up, peel that vegetated, vegetative material that you talked about earlier, and just peel it off the bottom. It seems like you'd be looking for places like that.
Yep, it's so important, important. And they did a great job up at Lake Toho with that program to bring those dozers in and just push back those, so many years of vegetation. It's so neat watching the different guys that are all doing well in the tournament. Obviously, we wouldn't have cameras on them, but how they're fishing differently. This morning, we had a lot of people doing the same thing, although Timmy's kind of been doing the one thing that's been so successful here when we were here in 2012, but we see no one else doing it. But it's cool to watch these guys when things have gotten a little tough and they're trying to figure out how to get a big bite, that wind's laid down. They're doing different things, and looking around for bedfish. Ooh, Brian just missed one. Flipping, just doing things. But the weather and the lack of wind is really helping Timmy, especially the direction the wind is coming from. If that wind would get up to 15, 20 miles an hour, he'd be toast.
He'd be just the water would be off.
It is staying up in a matter of hours, and it could take it days to straighten out. We looked at the forecast earlier. And it's not supposed to blow over 9 miles an hour.
Pretty steady, all from the same direction all weekend long, as far as we know. Always make some allowances for change because it's subject to change.
Not that
down
you can
here.
trust the weatherman.
Get a little system come up in Florida with very little notice.
When the wind dies, the gnats come out also.
Saw a lot of guys post about those. Aaron Martin's had a video. On Facebook, just said it was awful.
Looks like Steven's pitching Texas rig Cinco now too. Obviously they know that chatterbait bite has really died, and it's coming right. All of the factors that we're talking about are just going right in Timmy's direction. Clearing skies, the wind not blowing too hard for him over there in that south corner. And he's been flipping all day. I don't know why he's got those other 5 rods on his front deck. It's not like he's going to pick one of them up. I'd get them totally out of the way. They're just decoys when he takes off and goes away in, I guess.
I guess that's what it is.
You don't want to be that guy with 25 pounds both days and have one rod on the deck. Everybody be looking right at it.
Yeah, I'd slide that one back in the box right before I checked in.
Yeah.
But, I don't think he's going to pick up another rod anytime soon.
Yeah, just have 5 devil horses out there.
Yeah, exactly.
One flipping stick. Feel so fortunate to have these pictures, especially with Timmy, all the way across the lake from where we're sort of headquartered here.
Yeah.
Still getting some good, usable video. We'll take it, absolutely.
If you notice what he did then, he just put his trolling motor back down. He's got just enough wind over there on that side. Like these guys on the north side, don't have any wind, but Timmy's got just enough that it's perfect. He can just pick his trolling motor up. He's probably got his outboard raised up some and just let the wind push him through there just so quietly. You put it down, move a little bit, then maybe slide it back up and just let the wind just ease him through a patch of those reeds, which are, like I said, there's just sparse this year compared to 2012 when they were just giant mounds of those reeds and mats.
Well, I had some information from the Florida Fish and Wildlife that they had done a lot of burns of cattails there, like 6,500 acres one year and 20,000 acres last year. It amazed me that they said they tried to keep that burn material from sinking and being on the bottom. I don't know how you do it.
You can put on the fireproof suit and go in with a shovel?
Yeah. I appreciate the thought, but I'd like to know how they could do that.
I saw that line too, and I thought, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound doable.
The old saying, it's the thought that counts.
It is, sure, yeah. They made the effort, That's.
But the cattails aren't good. They're ruining flow of water and all kinds of things over there in Moonshine Bay, I thought.
For those of you who are looking at Bass Track, be cognizant that some of these guys don't have service or they might not have Bass Track today, but guys like Drew Benton, Alton Jones, Matt Herron, they're listed as 0 fish, but they probably have fish for sure.
Yeah, if you don't know what Alton Jones or Matt Herron has, you don't really have the full picture of the tournament. Just about anywhere you go anymore, too. Those two guys are pretty tough.
They catch them just about every turn.
Thank you, man. You too.
We've seen a lot of the guys be way out of range, and then once they get in there, all 5 of their fish will bang into Bass Track.
Man, when them big ones bite, it is ferocious. It's amazing how aggressive. I mean, a whole clump of reeds will shake.
Yeah, when you see that clump of reeds shake, when you pitch that bait in there, it's more exciting than feeding an alligator with a piece of chicken to a fisherman. I mean, that's what you want to see. That's
Tell
what
that
you
to
live
Mercer.
for. That's right. And you know, Timmy does have gloves on. They're
Well,
not the same rubber gloves.
Yeah, that's all starting to add up now. And not just any gloves either. We got to get another tight shot of those.
You know, I talk about if you fish in Florida and you're not around boats, you're not going to catch many fish. And Timmy's not around many boats, but that's what you want. It very seldom happens. He's got a big area.
And what we
with
got
very
is
little
just flipping
company.
tackle. Gary Klein, 8-foot flipping rod, loose reel, 50-pound braid. It's just a Bass Pro Shops tungsten weight peg there. Trocar Martzona hook with a clone cross on it. Black and blue swirl is the name of it. It's kind of a laminate. Has a good mixture to it. And these pinchers really open up when they fall and give a lot of kick. And it's a compact bait. I don't like anything with ribbon tails because it really catches as it falls. So it's just something that's compact, but yet beefy. It has a lot of movement up here around the head. It's real beefy. And what I mean by that, there's a lot of plastic so it don't tear, it stays put. And if not in and out, will tear them just as much as catching fish. But everything I've caught on it so far. And I mix up the weight a little bit. If I get into some real heavy stuff, I'll go up to a 1 ounce, 3/4 1 ounce, and even up to 1.5 ounces on some of it. But it seems like the whole deal is no matter what the cover, it seems like once you get in them, it'll happen just like it did there real quick. Then you'll go stretches 3 or 4 hours without a bite. You know, yesterday morning I caught a 7-11 and a 6.5, just, back-to-back flips. And those two big ones right there were pretty much out of the same group. So that's just the biggest key. Just keep moving, and then when you find them, it'll get good real quick. I think the wind laying this evening has really helped it. It was brutal this morning out here.
We were getting the goods right there. We need that to pick back up again.
Yeah. He talked a little bit about the weights, and like I guess, not using the heavier sinkers that had to use a few years ago. But the key is getting that bait to go through that cover with the lightest sinker you can. And the lightest sinker might be a 2-ounce piece of tungsten. And I've got some tungsten weights here. We'll talk about a little later or tomorrow or sometime. And look at the difference and why you would use them. But and I mentioned him having several rods on there, and a couple of them are other baits, but he's probably got at least 3 rigs identical, but he's got different size sinkers on there. If I was flipping, the same deal, looks like he's flipping, I'd probably have a 1/2 ounce on, a 3/4 and or a 1 ounce, and then have you one real heavy one like a 1.5 ounces. But personally, I haven't seen anything that you would need that 1.5 ounce to 2 ounce sinker on. So many people say, why would you use something? You've got to get that bait to go through that cover. Once it goes through there, it doesn't matter what size so much, but you've got to be able to get it through that. Before tungsten sinkers, we had a Bassmaster event on Lake Toho, and when I say before tungsten sinkers, before we knew about them or any of the people fishing the bass events, and I was fishing some cover that I couldn't. The biggest sinker I had was a 1 ounce Florida rig, the screw lock. And I actually put my head together with Clark Winlet and Guido and Dion Hibden because I needed their help. I wanted to be secretive about it, but I kept thinking I need something that'll get down in there. So I actually epoxied 2 1 ounce sinkers together, but they were lead and they were like 2.5, 3 inches long, which made it impossible to penetrate, even though it was heavy like I wanted, but it was just too big.
It would finally
and too
drag
bulky.
too much to get through there.
So tungsten, that's why it's been so important in Florida to be able to use a 2 ounce sinker and not have all that bulk, because you want it to be as small as it can to help penetrate that cover.
His bait there, he stressed having a big profile, so he's looking for an instant, violent reaction bite from this.
Like I mentioned, when we have this warming trend like we have all winter, it seems like, and certainly this week, we're here a little later than we often are. Those fish get more aggressive, and they, something that's making a lot of noise, that they will attack more so than when we have the cold fronts. You're using the same size sinker, but really, really small baits. I think I've got one here. I'll show you.
All right.
I can drag them out.
One thing I'll note is that a lot of these elite guys are great teachers, but Timmy Horton's one of the ones that if you have 20 minutes to sit down and talk to him, like, he is such a great teacher. And that goes back to his also, he has his own TV show, but he is such a great explainer of different things that you want to know.
He's a well-spoken guy, that's for sure. And a guy who's bumping on 50 pounds if he's not already over 50 pounds here, with a good bit of his fishing day left here on day 2. You found him. I know we've got a Yamaha Taste the Bait coming up. Got to have one coming up soon.
We'll show them in a minute.
We'll hold that as a tease
for
Taste the Bait.
Couple examples there.
Edwin Evers got a kicker, six pounder that jumped him from the 60s into the 40s.
Wow.
You look at the cut line, it's about 23 right now. Going to go up, and the guys underneath it need to do some climbing, some big names down there.
Yeah, if you didn't have a good day yesterday and it's, almost lunchtime, like you said, it's big fish or go home day on Lake Okeechobee, and guys are feeling that. And you got to have in the back of your mind the Classic, the 18 Classic, your Angler of the Year chances, because there's some guys that have had some unusual tough tournaments, the first 2 events, that are almost always competing for Angler of the Year, and you can take yourself out of the race with back-to-back tough tournaments.
Keith Combs would love a 6-pounder right now. He's in 55th place. As it stands right now, or a couple of 5s would help him out. He's stuck at about 12 pounds and 15 ounces today. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was looking after yesterday. I take it all back.
He's at the cut line. Combs and Swindle are right there, 50,
So he has
51. They got small limits.
One thing that's interesting is yesterday Swindle had the same bag, a 7 to 8 pound bag, maybe 8.5, 9 pounds. And at 2:40, he made a 20-mile run. He said stopped, and one of his first casts at that new area at 3 o'clock, he caught a 7-pounder, and that gave him that 15 to 16 pound bag that he had yesterday, and could have saved his tournament.
Caught it with his beard.
Come on, what have you got for us on the Swindle beard? Come on.
Oh, I got to talk to him yet. It's
okay.
It's a charity deal.
Okay.
He and Luke Duncan are growing out their beard and seeing who shaves it first. So it's for breast cancer awareness. It's a worthy cause.
All right.
Now, Davey, you're saying guys are sweating it right now. Like Aaron Martin's is 66th, and Ike is right behind him at 69th, and our Chris Lane and Hischer still way down in the 80s.
Yeah, but like Ike, he had a good tournament in that first event. You can stump your toe in one, but boy, you stump it hard in the first 2, it makes for a long year. Like I said, I'm talking from experience. I've been on both ends of that. I've won the first 2 events of the year, and I've had 2 bad ones. It's and there's a fine line between those 2, but boy, it can be tough to start it off with 2 bad ones, because there's guys that, you're gonna have 35 to 40 guys that are gonna make checks of just about every event, and you start off with 10 points a tournament for the first 2 tournaments is rough.
But gee, when you win 2, everything else is just gravy, or how does that roll to the rest of the events of the season?
It rolls pretty good. Your wife buys lots of shoes and boots.
Yeah. Suddenly she has a lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of.
I didn't know you had so much dough.
Sure.
Go, dear.
I just roll on to the next one and keep catching them. Think they just all of a sudden start jumping in the boat sometimes, and they start jumping out almost as fast. Yeah, I had a tournament at Okeechobee a few years ago, the first tournament of the year, and it was midday, the second day, cut day, and I had a limit of rats, 7 pounds. And I set the hook with 65-pound braid, busted my rod on like a 9-pounder, and hand lined the fish halfway in, thought I was still gonna catch the fish. Ended up, cut my line, and I weighed in one that weighed 1 pound too. An 8-pound swing at the first tournament cost me like 60 points. Oh. It's hard to make up 60 points when you got that fish on the line. It's such a fine line on the second day in the afternoon in Florida. It's just that one bite can change your year, good or bad.
You think, Davey, obviously you're not out there competing this year, but with Cherokee and being foreign to a lot of these elite guys, hadn't never fished it, not a lot of history with there. And then coming to Florida, Florida's a great for an angler or killer. There's no middle ground. You either, you get beat up by Florida or you do well. So 2 challenging events for guys who didn't pick it up in Cherokee.
Yeah, but geez, you got to know. I mean, it's all a learning experience. Timmy's got another.
Look out.
Two big fish just came across the board. Russ Lane with a 6.
Think about that. You just never know.
To total 16.4. Luke Clausen with a 7.5. He's up to 18.2.
Russ is coming around, shaking off that flu.
Yeah,
Ronnie's.
He said, I got to get it done for Ronnie.
That's right.
I got to get it done for Ronnie.
Yeah, I mentioned landing or losing fish can change your day. I love Timmy's mentality right now. When you got that fish on, it's hard to tell whether it's an 8-pounder or a 2-pounder. He just pointed a rod and just went, come to me, baby. You're not coming off there. That's when things are going your way.
Yeah, you're not going to give him any opportunity.
Oh.
I don't think anything's changed much as far as our power pole replay of the day goes. Probably going to be the same guy. It might be a different fish, but this is the first one. The first big one that Timmy Horton caught here.
He's catching so many like this, it doesn't look like a replay. It just looks like every time we go to Timmy Horton.
Timmy Horton coming into this day in 3rd place. Absolutely wearing them out. Big ones all day today. He's had about 8 bites all day long. Boy, have they been the right ones. Kind of gets into it with this one a little bit and winds up on top.
I love to see a guy that's been around as long as Timmy, and he's losing his breath. His heart's about to pump out of his jersey there. I mean, you just love to see this. Another big one. This is the 6-pounder. A lot easier. That fish was in those scattered reeds.
Tim Horton, last Elite Series win, 2007, Lake Champlain, made it look very, very easy there. And today, here on the Big O. He's making it look fairly easy, too. Got a lot more to come. A lot more Bassmaster Live. Take a quick break and be right back.
Continually proven on the tournament trail and with Skeeter owners everywhere with 14 consecutive NMMA CSI Consumer Satisfaction Awards. Our competition doesn't even come close. Right now, buy, save, fish with up to $1,500 in instant rebates through March 31st, including the newly redesigned limited edition FX series. Now is the best time to buy, save, fish. Skeeter.
Is there a place where the underwater images are the clearest you've ever seen? We're seeing every fish, we're seeing every detail of structure, and where every bottom contour was visible, where whatever you wanted to see below the surface was real. Do you want to go? Structure Scan 3D is the future of fishing. We can show you how to find fish faster and catch fish in a way you've never experienced. Let's get them.
Is this being in the moment? Is this hanging out? And is this really playing with your kid? Don't stop what you're doing to capture what you're doing. Keep running, keep playing, keep dancing. Just keep doing. GoPro, start recording.
Champions aren't born, they're created. Every turn of the prop, every mile on the lake, every cast of the rod, every fish they catch, and every pound they weigh. It builds who they are. It builds a legacy.
For your 2016 Bassmaster Angler of the Year!
Facts matter. All monofilament is not the same. Berkley is the strongest, smoothest, most dependable monofilament line in the world. Why would you risk your fishing trip to a line that's made who knows where just to save a buck? Berkley has been making and perfecting trilene in America for over 75 years. I spool nothing less than the best. That's Berkley trilene, and that is a fact.
You're watching the Bassmaster Elite at Lake Okeechobee, brought to you live by Hook.
What'll you be doing about a month from now? I know what a lot of you are going to be doing. You're going to be watching the Bassmaster Classic. Certainly going to have for you all 3 days here on Bassmaster Live, first ever, fully in the state of Texas for a Bassmaster Classic. Lake Conroe. It's going to be uncharted territory for some of these elite guys, although most of them have had a visit or two there, and the first time ever for a big-time tournament for the Bassmaster Elite Series in the Houston, Texas area, the fourth largest media market in the country, fourth largest city population-wise in the country. Also have the fantastic Dick's Sporting Goods Expo. A little shot from a very memorable sequence there that happened on the last day of the Classic on Grand Lake. If we get anything like that on the last day at Lake Conroe, I'll be satisfied, because that was one of the most incredible finishing days of a Classic we have ever seen. And we'll be doing live from right here at the Expo. Going to be at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Huge place right across the Minute Maid Stadium, and that's where they'll be having the weigh-ins each and every day. Going first class, top shelf, all the way to this Bassmaster Classic, first ever in the Houston area. Davey winning that Classic, that it's just... I mean, I'm sure there's no way you can really lay it out and describe it.
You really can. It was more than a dream come true. It truly was. And honestly, Tommy, the first thing that I thought when I raised that trophy over my head is not what I had ever thought of before, but the first thing I thought was, I wish everyone in these stands could feel what I'm feeling right now. It was truly amazing.
Let's take a little Dick Sepek trivia time. I can't even say it. I'm a trivia's. Why can't I speak here? Here's the question. How many anglers have won both a Bassmaster Classic and a Toyota Angler of the Year title, much like the man to my left here, Davey Height? How many guys fit that description? Take a quick guess. Everybody's looking at their fingers out here now. I don't know if we're going to hold this over till the next.
Do we have an A, B,
more than just
C, D?
your fingers? Yeah. Do you have some numbers, some multiple choice? Is it multiple choice?
Oh, that'd be too easy.
All right.
I'm saying, you know, you got to go back to Bill Dances and all those guys. I'm saying 7-8.
7-8. You get one.
9-10.
I'm gonna give you 8.
I'm gonna say 8.
I got
Ronnie?
9. I got 9.
12.
Oh, we're way off. 12 guys. 12 guys have done that, including Davey Height. Absolutely, including Davey Height. These guys just starting their campaign right now, and we think about it. You know, we've in the old days. And for most of the life of the Bassmasters, you'd fish a whole season, then you'd have your Classic. Then back a decade ago, we said, hey, you're going to start the year with the Classic. And now we're doing something completely different. Now, how does that mess with your flow, you know, through the course of a season?
Well, that's yet to be seen, but, you know, these guys are good, and they're going to show up to each and every event. The momentum that we talked about is the one thing that I would be concerned. There's some really good fishermen that have already qualified for the Classic in Houston that have not started their elite season off like they wanted to, and I'll be interested to see if they can recover for the Classic. The Classic is the one event that if you can't get up for, you need to retire, because it is the World Championship of Fishing. And like I mentioned, not only for the fishermen competing, but the fans. I've never met a person, even women, so many times through the years I've had women that I went to the Classic because my husband, you know, basically forced me to, but I loved it. It's the greatest show, outdoor show there is. I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, there's the Classic, and then there's everything else a good peg down. Such, you've been talking to a lot of the anglers. What are you hearing from them? Getting candid comments about, I like this idea of having a couple of events before the Classic, then we do the Classic, or what's the consensus for you?
Oh, I haven't really dug into that with any of them. They're going to wait and see if they're on a roll, but that's the thing. Is it the momentum coming in, or if I had a couple first bad events?
Yeah, Ronnie's got an answer.
I mean, I think we've seen it affect people differently, but I think some of the new guys are excited to start their career and not be overshadowed by the Classic. But some of these guys who had carried so much momentum, or the Swindles, the Combs, they just want to get there. And it be all about that, kind of almost like the Daytona 500. They want to be there, experience the big moment, and then shift gears for points chasing, check chasing, AOI, instead of just going for the 3-day, smash fest.
All right, thanks, guys. Let's go back out. I've said this about 10 times today. Moments ago, guess who? The one and only Tim Horton out there has been knocking them dead today. A fantastic day number 2. Let's look at this moments ago.
Another big one. It's what you want to happen if you're Timmy Horton, or if you're any elite fisherman. He doesn't have a lot of boats around him, and his fishing is getting better. The bites are coming more and more often, and those top guys from yesterday, the Octafo, Stephen Browning, Brett Height, they're struggling today, just trying to get a bite. You can just. It's like you move from one side of the lake to the other, and you're moving from one lake to the other. It's just totally different. Totally different.
Well, he caught him this morning when it was overcast. He's catching him now that it's bright blue skies. As you say, he's got the wind in his favor. Everything's working for him right now and not against him.
The blue skies should help most guys, but the wind is the big difference from one side of the lake to the other. Those guys, you have most of the field fishing that north corner of the lake because it's protected from wind, but you want a little breeze when that sun comes out, and it's perfect for Timmy. Typically this time of year the wind's blowing too much over on that side, but you can see the difference in the two. Not as much now as it was just an hour ago, but it's even laid down over there on the side that Timmy's at. If the wind doesn't blow hard from that northeast direction over into him, it's going to be tough for somebody to beat him. Other than Dean Rojas, which is in the same area, and he's made up a lot of ground this afternoon.
Absolutely. Dean Rojas currently sitting unofficially in 4th place right now, yet he's 10 pounds unofficially again back at Timmy Horton.
That's a long way back on most lakes, but that's one bite here.
That's right. That's right.
Because
here at this one, 20-pound bags. You look at the day 1, 7 20-pound bags. Oh, that 2012, 20-pound bags, 7 of them on day 1. 8 of them on day number 2. Pretty consistent, 8 of them on day 3, and fell off a little bit on day 4.
Well, you have to think about the different days. It actually got a lot better because on day 3 you had half the field fishing, and on day 4 there were 6 20-pound bags and only 12 guys.
12 anglers.
So it got better each day. Percentage-wise, it got better each day. Even the second day, you had full field. You had one more 20-pound.
You got rid of more of those non-catching them guys every day.
Yeah. Driving home.
Yeah. 10 of them yesterday. 10 20-pound bags ahead of the schedule from 2012 as far as
what we on
20-pound bags.
Track for today. Ronnie,
We got,
you guys know?
For sure, 4 20-pound bags registered. There's, obviously 18, 19-pound bags could turn into 20s, but there's 4 for sure that are 20 already.
So it might not go up today like it did in 2012 from day 1 to day 2.
Might be flat level. 8 might be the number again.
If Timmy Horton would share a few of those fish, some other guys would have some 20-pound bags.
Yeah, we have to get our number up.
It's moments ago with Timmy Horton show right now. That was almost
again.
right now, not moments ago. He missed another one.
We've talked about it all week, the big bite, how important that one or two big bites are. And people like Todd Faircloth, Russ Lane, like flippers, great grass fishermen, didn't do well yesterday, but Todd Faircloth jumped all the way up. He's in the top 20 or 30 or so, and he's caught him today. So one good day will help you.
Wish we could get some sound on B-Height. That's B-Height and Ayler.
Secret's over there.
No.
I know what they're doing.
Up here when everybody and their brother was out here.
I would think. I mean, how can you?
He's a black ninja is what we called. I hear you. Have you had any big ones on?
No, not one. No, the biggest one I have is on.
I might make a move. Then go hit some random rent. We rolling? Yeah. I know. They might later though, dude. We're gonna try some little secret.
All right, Brett Height. Looking for a secret hole like they were looking for a couple of weeks ago out of Cherokee.
Making a move. And I said earlier I thought he would stick with that area all day, but you could see Stephen Browning and Brett Height right there, and then they were talking to Brent Ayler. When you go round and round with some really good fishermen long enough, and the conditions there with no wind, you just think you need to make a move, and that's what he's going to do.
Did you hear that screaming? Fletcher Shryock just caught an 8-4.
Wow. That changes your day.
A decent day 1. He's got 16-12 now. Kevin has climbed from 81st inside the 50 cut at about 40.
Yeah, I hear you. I've got 3. I got like a 2 1/4 and 2.
I just checked out the private map of Bass Track just a few seconds ago, and those couple anglers that were scattered on that south end of the lake near Tim Horton, maybe not right on him, they seem to all be on the northeast side of the island, whereas he's on the southwest side of that island down there. But there's guys like Lowen, Iconelli, Cliff Pace, and Dean Rojas. So there's a couple guys, but maybe they're fishing something totally different.
Yeah, that's the more popular side of that island. Formerly known as the more popular side. Timmy Horton might change things.
That's been revised now. Zona was talking about his hashtag so thankful of that. I think we should adopt that too, for the fact that of 110 guys, we got Timmy Horton. It could have been any one of those guys who had the top weight today. We're on the guy that's catching them better than anyone else. That is just. We're phenomenally lucky. Is what
Hashtag
that is.
Blessed.
Hashtag so blessed.
And it's what all the people want to see.
Yeah,
everyone watching is blessed that we're able to watch Timmy catch these big fish.
Those are the keepers, the little dots you see right below him right there. Those are his keepers. And
you know, I mentioned this morning about the hard line that's created by the growth of those reeds. And you see with that map, you see that line, and he's just outside it from the hard line to the scattered. And that's where those fish, well, when they stage on that hard line, and they'll move either in or out depending on the water level and the water quality to spawn. And he's just outside that hard line. I'm totally shocked there's not a few more people around Timmy, because that's a place I fished in 2012 when I moved from the area that I called on the first day, kind of like B. Hyde is doing now. Midday, the second day, I realized I'm nothing but small ones. I moved, and I moved to the area that Timmy's at now, and there were 6 or 8, 10 boats in that area the second day. I mean, it's not a secret area by any means.
well, you saw it. We looked at one of those crowded areas about 4 minutes ago, and people were bailing out of it like maybe he's got some people headed his way. That could be a possibility.
Very likely, very likely. And the wind, the wind is what's changing everything. Or lack thereof, I should say.
Brett Hyde still struggling today. Just like last year, he had a fantastic tournament at his second event of the year and came very close to winning out at Winyah Bay there up the Cooper River, 15, 20 miles, and kind of a key log right there that he was working over.
Yeah.
Just couldn't quite get it nailed down on the final day.
I found a key mud bar, but not for catching fish.
That was entertaining too.
Not for catching fish.
That was good though. Jesse Takaranti, we think, is going to roll in with probably around 30 pounds, and there's every probability of still being 10 pounds behind when the weigh-in is over. That's got to be a little bit disheartening.
Welcome to the big leagues.
There you go, Jesse.
Welcome to the big leagues. Of course, he's done great to move from, 79th up to second, third, but you catch that 30-pound bag on day 2, you think you might be leading the Derby, but there's going to be one guy that catches them every day. And so far, it looks like Timmy.
What's so hard about that is it says 29.5 on Bass Track, and when you get that high, you don't. I mean, it could be 31 because an 8-pounder is an 8.5, and a 7-pounder is an 8.
Yeah,
you know,
could be a half pound off each
he could be
fish.
31 pounds. You just don't know.
I think Timmy's got more than the 23. I really do.
For sure.
You'd be like that sports science guy.
Davey, I looked up Jesse Takaranti, and he wrote a column for us, said you and he and a couple other guys were in Japan about 30 years ago.
Well, it wasn't quite 30 years ago, but yeah, it was a few years back, and interesting trip. We were at a big sport fishing show, the largest one I've ever been to. There's a few people that live in Tokyo and around.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
It was interesting. Had a great time. The most difficult seminar I've ever done in my career. Had a Japanese interpreter up on the hog trough with me, and I've got a little bit of a southern accent, and she she had a little bit of a Japanese accent, but
imagine that.
It was it was awesome. We really were treated very, very nicely, and got to fish a little bit with some local heroes, and ate really good sushi.
Oh,
and
I bet.
Steak and that sort of thing. It was a fun trip early on in my career. Not quite 30 years ago, though.
No.
That's what he wrote. He was just thinking back.
Hey, if I was catching 10-pounders, I might get 20 and 30 mixed up for sure out there. He's had a great day. Like I mentioned, he's certainly no rookie. Been fishing the opens for quite a while.
It's not his first trip to the pool hall, as they say.
Exactly.
Davey, for some of these rookies who may not have done well at Cherokee, and they're in the cut line right now and maybe to get their first check, it was different back when you were your first year, but, how much of a relief is it for you to, do well and to kind of, cement yourself into the elite saying, hey, I can catch them here?
Oh, it means everything, because you want to be confident in your skills, or you should be, to fork out the big entry fee money, and in my case, to quit my full-time job that I had for 10 years. But it's also a relief to, like in football, to score that first touchdown, to know that you can do it against the competition you're competing against. So it's certainly a relief. You're not going to pay all the bills with just a check. You hope to do better, but making that first check is certainly a relief.
Did we not have a record number of rookies who made the cut at
Seven
Cherokee
of
for the
them.
first event of the year?
Yes, sir. Seven rookies out of the 11 made the first cut of the year, and they're Tyler Carrier, one of the Louisiana rookies that didn't make the cut. He's inside the cut right now, so that's why I referenced him. And there's a couple other guys who are flirting around that one solid fish will get them in that check range again. But it might be the tightest pure rookie of the year battle that we've ever had, probably.
And this is, in some ways, sad, but true. There are a few of those guys, and I don't know which ones because I don't know their personal stories, but every year there's a few of those guys that if they don't make a check by their second event, it might be the end of them competing in the elites. It's that much of a struggle to get started. And, but it's that way in every sport. There's guys that don't make the team in the NFL.
Sure.
After being a college superstar. I mean, it's tough when you get to this level, or the top level in any sport. It's just tough. So is it a relief to make the team as an NFL player from a college player? It's a relief. Is it a relief to make your first elite check? In more ways than one, for sure. One thing that I noticed about Timmy flipping, it looked like he was about moments ago with Timmy Horton.
Yeah, we're having moments ago moment there.
I spoke earlier about the smaller plastic in the cold front when those fish are lethargic, that smaller bait. It also is very unusual, but from the way I grew up, what I thought I knew and read and watched Bill Dance on television, that sort of thing, Virgil Ward, all those guys. But it seems like when you're in a cold front and those fish get locked down and they're really harder to catch, you use those smaller baits, and you actually, when he's raising his rod right now with that bigger bait that's giving off more vibration, it's just a slow little steady up and then let fall. But if you'll notice, myself included, when I'm using those smaller baits, I really pop that rod to make that bait come faster, because those fish are just totally reacting. They're not feeding, they're not in that feeding mode. So unlike what most people would think, you want that bait to go faster when those fish are lethargic rather than slow.
I think most people would think the opposite. Taking a look there on the right of your screen, what's coming up about Carhartt College Series, going to Winyah Bay, just like the Elite Series did last year, about the same time of year. Table Rock coming up for the Bass Pro Shops Bassmaster Opens, the very same weekend, the weekend after that. Toledo Bend for the high school. The Costa High School tournament down there in Toledo Bend. That'll be a big thrill for the high school kids and their coaches showing up there. And then we got one called the Geico Bassmaster Classic, which is a month from this weekend right now. Make your plans to be with us. Even better, going down there to Houston. Check it out at Lake Conroe. Go to the takeoff every day. Go enjoy Houston for a little while and show up at Minute Maid Stadium. You can probably watch the weigh-in and get to another big event going on in Houston. I mean, we're not the only game in town. I'm not saying that, but that's you can double up in the course of a day.
We're not the only game in town, but we'll have our newly crowned yellow belt karate champion.
Oh my gosh,
Mark
we will
Zona
have
with
that.
us there, won't we?
He'll be available to talk to you about, you know. He'll be sort of making that decision whether he's going to keep on with the karate career to keep
or just
keep
be a
going to
full-time dad.
Or just be a full-time dad.
We're not supposed to talk about that, remember?
No, right. That's right. Never mind.
I did look unofficially. 6 rookies are in the top 51 right now to make the cut tomorrow unofficially. So we had 7 the first time, 4 missed it, 6 this time, 5 are unofficially out. So if we can get a 50% clip of this rookie class at least every time, I mean, that's a good portion.
Wouldn't you think that'd be kind of almost unprecedented?
It would. I think it would be something we definitely haven't seen before, and it's kind of scary with 4 or 5 Louisiana rookies when we go down to Toledo and Rayburn and Ross Barnett. Like they could be contending. We saw Jesse and Jamie Hartman contend. In the first one. So,
and to have 2 Jesse rookies lead in the first 2 events at some point.
I'd say that's unprecedented. We can safely say that, yeah. Lock that one down.
He raises that rod about 4 or 5 times every good target when he gets that bait in there.
Now, Davey, I have a question. If he's fishing 60 to 80 pound braid, flipping this stuff, how much are you going to retie in a day? Obviously braid's strong and you got a snell knot probably that's really concealed from the weight, not a lot of friction, but how much would you retie with the fish that you're flipping for?
In Okeechobee, only, maybe twice a day or so because you just don't have a lot of abrasion there. Yeah. The only place you have to do a lot of retying with braid is if you got barnacles or, you're around some salt water, a Potomac or, that braid, that vegetation doesn't phase it.
Doesn't knock it down.
It's the only line that I won't, typically with mono and with fluorocarbon, I'm going to change my line every day because it's so important not to have that one little nick. But, 60 to 80 pound braid, you just keep on whacking them, like Timmy has done for sure.
Really, the first kind of sustained lull we've had all day long, which is highly unusual.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Bassmaster Live has educated people about. The days are made up of periods of long lulls with just sheer panic.
These guys are good, but they are real. They are human. They don't catch one every cast. But Timmy Horton has almost done that today.
Muscle Shoals, Alabama, Pickwick Lake, Wilson Lake. You associate that with Davey Height, but you also associate it with this young fella who's from that area right there, Timmy Horton. He's 30 years old. He won the Rookie of the Year and Angler of the Year back in 2000.
He won here in 2004.
He's a man made for this job today.
If you love bass fishing, then show your support by joining B.A.S.S today. Since 1968, B.A.S.S has been serving bass fishing enthusiasts with information and tournament coverage that make you a better angler. When you sign up today, you'll join over 500,000 outdoorsmen who love bass fishing. With your membership, you'll receive every issue of Bassmaster magazine, plus $50 in free gear, including a membership tackle bag, B.A.S.S cap, plus more. Log on to Bassmaster.com to join Bass today.
Man, it's slow today. Yep.
Mom, I caught a fish.
Good job, sweetie.
Hey, what kind of lure is that?
It's a Livingston. They have electronic bait fish sounds that activate as soon as they hit the water. Easiest way to catch a fish.
Hey, thanks.
The competition is fierce and the prizes are huge. The only thing missing is you. Fantasy Fishing presented by Toyota. Sign up for free and face fans from across the nation. Grand prize winner receives a Triton Yamaha package, including a Triton 189 TRX. MSRP of $37,293. The Classic and each individual Elite Event winner will receive $2,500 Bass Pro Shops gift cards, with the runner-up receiving a GoPro Hero 4 Black camera. Sign up and pick your team today at Bassmasterfantasy.com.
Oh, yeah! Awesome. Awesome. Yes! Woo! It's a big one. Giant. Boom! Dude, and I just got a hook in my hand. Look here. That's bad. Don't tell me, just do it. Just like that. I got it. That's a big one, big one. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, that makes me happy right there. That's a big one. Woo! What's going on here, man? What's up with that? Yes! Yes! Come on, give me some, baby. Give me some. Yes! Those are the kind we need right there. Yeah! Nice! Yes, sir. He's got it good. Big one, big one. Yes! Yes! Yeah! Yes! Yeah, boys! Oh, stay on there! Yeah! That's what we after right there, boys.
31 pounds, 7 ounces. The legendary Mr. Rick Clun knocks the lights out. Ricky Clun gets it done. From Lake Wiley, South Carolina, Britt Myers. 5 pounds, 13 ounces. Britt Myers smashes him in front of his hometown crowd. Your champion, ladies and gentlemen. Let me hear it for Randall Tharp. 16 pounds and 2 ounces. The Honey Badger hammers him on Championship Sunday. Get loud for Takahiro Amore. 16 pounds, 10 ounces. Takahiro Amore, your champion from Kalamazoo, Michigan. KVD, Kevin Van Dam. 21 pounds, 6 ounces. KVD gets it done with win number 21. The Hack Attack whacks him on Championship Sunday. Your champion, Greg Hackney. 12 pounds, 10 ounces. KVD gets it done. 19 pounds, 13 ounces. Justin Lucas lays the lugger to the Potomac River. 12 pounds and an ounce. Defoe is an Elite Series champion. Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year. The G-Man gets it done and finishes in spot number 1.
Champions aren't born, they're created. Every turn of the prop, every mile on the lake, every cast of the rod, every fish they catch, and every pound they weigh. It builds who they are. It builds a legacy.
For your 2016 Bassmaster Angler of the Year.
Fishing fans, make plans to be at the 2017 Geico Bassmaster Classic, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. March 24th through the 26th in Houston, Texas. See 52 of the world's best anglers weigh in their catch from Lake Conroe at Minute Maid Park, home of the Houston Astros. A weigh-in show like never before and one you've got to see in person. Check out the biggest outdoors expo in B.A.S.S. history, featuring the latest in fishing gear, giveaways, and more. Fun for the whole family and all events are free. Join us in Houston for the Geico Bassmaster Classic and be a part of the most exciting 3 days in fishing, period. Think you could win valuable prizes from Bassmaster? You can't know unless you enter, and entering is easy. Go to Bassmaster.com. Enter now for a chance to win a fishing trip with 2016 Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year Gerald Swindle. Trip includes airfare, rental car, hotel, and $500 cash. Plus a Triton 17 TX bass boat, Mercury engine, and Gerald's gear from Humminbird, Minn Kota, GoPro, and more. You, the winner of a valuable prize? Could be. All you have to do to get your shot is go to Bassmaster.com and enter today and every day. Hey, it could be you.
What is this meeting about again? Fishing! Took my boat, boom, jumped over it, and I caught a giant. It was like a whale. 29 pounds, baby! That's the last time I danced on stage. Wow. Chief Fishing Officer. How do I get that job? I don't know.
Go to teamgtfishing.com to find out more about my real job.
You're watching the Bassmaster Elite at Lake Okeechobee, brought to you live by Hook.
Bassmaster Live got another hour and a half worth of coverage coming your way. Take a look at this from 2012, Lake Okeechobee. Shaw Grigsby had a fantastic tournament. One of the guys that people were saying could do very, very well here was Mark Zona, who was saying we'd see a lot of the old familiar faces popping up in this tournament after seeing so many new faces at Cherokee Lake, and that's the way it's been.
When you come to Florida, you got to consider that Shaw Grigsby is going to be right in the thick of things.
Absolutely. Every time. Had a big win down at the Harris Chain to kick off the season a few years ago in the Bassmaster Elite Series. And a big tournament in 2012 for Shaw Grigsby, but Timmy Horton's what it's all about this time around. And we got our Taste the Bait, our Yamaha Taste the Bait coming up. And I know a little later on you'll have some of those. Well, we can, before we do that, let's take a look at these you talked about for the colder weather, for the slower conditions, those small profile. A
very small little crawfish bait that the guys use when we have the cold fronts. And the warmer weather, the bigger baits. But this is just kind of a medium bait. Timmy Horton's actually using a bait bigger than this, we'll see. Makes more vibration when it goes through the water. When those fish get more aggressive, the baits get bigger. The sinker size just adjusts from ½ ounce all the way up to 2 ounces, depending on the cover. And Timmy's not fishing really thick cover.
All right. Let's take a look at our other half of Yamaha Taste the Bait for this period right now. This is a look at Timmy Horton's bait. Timmy Horton, what he's catching them on today.
And what we got is just flipping tackle, Gary Klein, 8-foot flipping rod, loose reel, 50-pound braid. It's just a Bass Pro Shops tungsten weight peg there, Trocar Mark Zona hook with a clone cross on it. Black and Blue Swirl is the name of it. It's kind of a laminate, has a good mixture to it. And these pinchers really open up when they fall and give a lot of kick. And it's a compact bait. I don't like anything with ribbon tails because it really catches as it falls, so it's just something that's compact, but yet beefy. It has a lot of movement up here around the head. It's real beefy, and what I mean by that, there's a lot of plastic so it don't tear, it stays put. And if not in and out, will tear them just as much as catching fish. But everything I've caught on it so far And I mix up the weight a little bit. If I get into some real heavy stuff, I'll go up to a 1 ounce, 3/4, 1 ounce, and even up to 1.5 ounces on some of it. But it seems like the whole deal is no matter what the cover, it seems like once you get in them, it'll happen just like it did there real quick. Then you'll go stretches 3 or 4 hours without a bite. You know, yesterday morning I caught a 7-11 and a 6.5, just, you know, back-to-back flips. And those two big ones right there were pretty much out of the same group. So that's just the biggest key. Just keep moving, and then when you find them, it'll get good real quick. I think the wind laying this evening has really helped it. It was brutal this morning out here.
You heard him say it. He's got everything on that today. Well, is that going to be the bait that's going to drag him across the finish line in first place?
It very well may. I mean, the wind, he said, helped him this afternoon. According to the forecast, I think it's going to help him the rest of the week. And, you know, he's catching the right size fish. You know it's good when you say it was brutal this morning, and I saw him catch an 8-pounder this morning. If that's brutal, he should be on the other side of the lake around some of those other guys that haven't caught anything over 2.5 pounds all day.
Yeah, he's in a world you want to be in today, that's for sure. Did have a 9-10 pound lead unofficially over the rest of the field. Looks like Ott Defo has upgraded a little bit there to cut the margin a tiny bit. Jesse Tacarante, the rookie, moved up into that top 5 a good while back. Is hanging in there.
Wonder what, guys, you know what Rojas' smallest fish is? You got to think about these guys like Ott Defo and Jesse Tacarante and Rojas, Andy Montgomery. They're, you know, 7 to 11 pounds back. But if they've got a 1-pounder sitting in there, it's one flip. That's one catch. That's one frog bite. That's, you know, and that's what you have to keep in mind. I know Ott was catching a lot of small fish this morning. I would guess that he's probably got a fish still in his live well that's less than 2 pounds, or maybe just a 2-pounder that, you know, you can make up that 7 pounds in a hurry here. But, you know, it's easier said than done, but it is certainly possible
but
on Lake Okeechobee.
Something you didn't have last time at Cherokee. I mean, every good limit fish there was in the 2.5, 3.5 pound range.
Yeah.
Different story here.
And even though that lead looks just crazy, I guarantee you Timmy knows that he's going to have to catch him 2 more days.
See, and I'm really confused by Rojas's weight because his biggest fish logged is a 6-pounder. And they had that, we saw that photo earlier. So he might have 23, 24 pounds because he has that one, a 3-pounder, 2-something, and then about a 1.5 pounder.
And that 10-pounder.
Yeah.
You want a water, man?
Yeah. But the key is, I think, making up that lead. If he's got a 1.5 pounder still in there, if he catches another one like that picture that we saw, that I'm going to have to say was not a 6-pounder. No. It could go on Weight Watchers for a week and it won't be 6 pounds. I'm telling you, it was a 10-pounder. Or at least 9. You know, that fish was a lot bigger than 6 pounds.
Huge.
He's not eating pizza yet, but he's taking his time drinking a little water. He's going to be on Sunday.
Get in La La Land.
Don't get too reckless now. One swallow.
That ain't where you want to be. Oh, it done got nice out here.
See, when you're leading the tournament and catching those big fish like Timmy, he doesn't have a mask on. There's not a bug in Florida, according to him.
No.
Guys that are struggling, they've got masks on, they've got gloves, they've got, these dang gnats, everything's going wrong here. And Timmy's just, boy, it's a beautiful day.
Beautiful
what
day.
bug?
Got a little fresh breeze, keeping those bugs away. Everything's working.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, going back to Rojas, we have I've pulled them all up now. He's got roughly 8 or 9 fish caught. The 9-pounder is in there. Okay, so we have a 9, a 6, a 3, a 2, and a 1.5 pounds. So
Yep.
he does have 2 that are 2 pounds or less that he can get rid of.
Yep.
He's still dangerous.
And he's still in that area as well.
And Defoe probably the same way. Got a 2-pounder in the live well.
Yeah.
That's why you gotta keep watching live. You just
That's
gotta
right.
keep
You
watching.
got to keep watching live. If you're Timmy Horton, you got to mess with that beam and everything else you got when you're culling those fish out. It might come down to ounces.
That's right.
As many pounds as we're seeing, it could come down to ounces at the end of 4 days.
That look like a fish eating.
Dean Rojas, obviously, we assume doing near the same thing that Timmy's doing.
He is, and for the viewers that don't know what this is, I'm sure you do, Tommy, and a lot of the folks, but there's some that have never been to Florida fishing or Lake Okeechobee. That PVC pipe right in front of Dean Rojas' boat there is a shiner pole. And very seldom have I caught fish in Florida that you're not around shiner poles. And the reason is those shiners like that hard bottom just like the bass. And those shiner poles will be stuck in hard bottom.
Okay.
So when you're around shiner poles doesn't mean you're always going to catch them, but I've never caught them when I wasn't around shiner poles. It's areas that those shiners live and the bass live, the same areas. And they'll also, even catching shiners, they'll typically follow a line, whether it's a hard line. I mentioned about the reeds earlier. It might be the outside or the inside edge of your hydrilla, the outside of those reeds. Those shiner guys say those shiners relate to those same edges that the bass do for obvious reasons. But if you see those white PVC poles on your first trip to Lake Okeechobee, and they're maybe don't fish right around them necessarily, but you're in a good area usually.
Yeah, you're on the pathway.
Yeah.
Familiar sight, if you've watched years of tournaments on Lake Okeechobee, is at some point or another an angler has to look for a while at somebody, a fishing party who's out there using shiners for bait.
Oh, that's no fun.
And that uniformly gets frowns from every fisherman who has to sit there and fish while he's looking at something like that.
It's brutal because as good as you think you are as a fisherman with artificial bait, it's still artificial bait, and those shiners will show you how many fish are in the area. It can be brutal. It really can. To watch 4 people in a boat catching them as fast as they can reel them in on shiners.
Yeah, 6 and 7 pounders.
Yeah, and you get 1 bite an hour with an artificial. And so many times in that dark tannic water, like how can the fish tell the difference that good? You know, how can it be that much difference with our baits, you know, as lifelike as they look nowadays, and the presentations and all, you know.
If you can figure that out, Davey, I'll, call me. I'll throw in a couple bucks.
We'll retire.
Yeah.
I retired this year, though.
Yeah, there you go. And phase 2 right now.
I can just feel the frustration, the fret. I mean, you just see his mannerism. He can't believe it's happening, and I can't either. I would have bet anything he'd have 15 pounds by now. Maybe not 30, but 15. Look at it. Look at it. Hot's hooked up too. Oh. We were talking about a punch skirt earlier. You notice Ott there, that's a punch skirt and above that plastic.
It's not good because I don't know if he'll call. I don't think he will, but it ain't been there the day it was yesterday. I don't think he will.
Word from the water, a blog post from Geddes Brannon, one of the new members of the crew at the location, said that Tacarante had 2 big misses this morning that could have had him at near a 40-pound bag, he said, and because he still has a 2-pound, 12-ounce fish in his live well, so he could have had close to 40 pounds with 2 fish that he thinks he lost this morning.
Still could, right?
Wow.
No. Yeah. I can tell you, nobody's hit none of that. All right. We've been out here since 6:30.
You say Tacarani still got a 2-pounder in his?
Yeah, a high 2, almost 3-pounder.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got our full rapple of 4 live reunited here in the 4 box.
And I'm going to have to say a good rapple of 4 live. I talked to all 4 of those guys last night, and what a pleasure.
Oh, they're all great guys.
Just great guys. And, they got, I've been on that side, obviously. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of family calling them, congratulating them, trying to get your stuff rigged, choke down a dinner as fast as you can. A lot going on, but all 4 of those guys took time to talk to me and discuss what they were doing and why they were doing and all that sort of thing. And I just want to say I certainly appreciate that. Me being a rookie at this, and that they were great guys to talk to, all 4 of them.
Who might you be talking to tonight? Could be David Fritz, Jesse Tacarani.
Wow.
They'd
be fun to talk with also. Jesse and I could talk about the trip to Tokyo.
Yeah, there you go.
And oh, by the way, you had a great day today, Jesse.
Also some fishing.
And wow, would it be neat to talk to David Fritz. How he's had 2 good tournaments.
Yeah.
Not that even he didn't have anything to prove. He is obviously a legend in the sport, but people were all really curious with the move to incorporate, an old school legend into the field, and is rightfully so. He's done well.
I'm sure it'll increase the chatter about, see, he couldn't do any good over on this side. Went over there with you guys, and
yeah, that's right.
He's
someone will always shoot that angle, won't they?
Yeah.
Somebody always.
But I had a conversation with Jacob Wheeler a couple days ago, and boy, I'm just quoting Jacob because he just fished there, and he said it's hands down tougher competition fishing the Bassmaster Elite Trail. No comparison. That's his words. He was just fished there last year, and
there's
then
some credibility to that guy too. Yeah,
you betcha.
One thing that I think is really cool coming up is a limit streak. We haven't got to talk about it often, but I believe that Kevin Van Dam has the record for the most consecutive days with a limit of competition. And I think it's like 57 or it's high 50s. And the only one with an active streak close right now is Bradley Roy, and he has another limit today. And so his streak's up to, if he gets back to the weigh-in and weighs him, his streak would be 49. So he is, obviously last season he made the Classic. His first Classic, he had a great, consistent year, and this limit streak's because of it.
It's hard to make up a lot of ground on Kevin Van Dam when he just keeps on laying them down, but I would say any stat that you're second to Kevin Van Dam in fishing, you're doing pretty well. You're doing pretty well.
Does it only count Elite Series regular season events, or is it?
I think it's just days of competition. So the Classic would count, I think, as well.
Okay.
And
All right.
yeah. But just the elites. And I think Kevin's streak was broken a couple years ago at Delaware, maybe, something like that.
Yep,
And,
I remember that.
I think like the 5 most active streaks were broke at the Delaware because Lowen, McClelland, a lot of those guys lost it. So it's been a long time coming for a limit streak, but Bradley's kind of putting it together quietly.
Ooh. Timmy missed one there. Yeah, the Delaware broke a couple of streaks of mine, too.
Broke a couple hearts, too.
Yeah.
Geez, that was a tough tournament. They're all tough, though. This one, it's always easy for the guy that wins.
Oh, yeah.
No matter how many you catch, but you look down the list and, you're not going to have, even though they're the best in the business, you got some guys that are really, really, really good fishermen that, 7, 8 pounds. It's not easy to catch those fish like Timmy's been catching today, every day.
Aaron Martin's with 4 pounds today. 4 pounds and 4 ounces.
Who would have thought that?
No, not me.
And not a good tournament at Cherokee, which he was one of my picks to win that first event. Deepwater smallmouth. Aaron Martin's kind of all rolls off the tongue at the same time,
Yeah. I think if Aaron Martins could go over to Havasu and catch him out of the Tules on the blackbird pattern, he could come here and go to town.
Dude, there's more bugs than blackbirds. That's what's wrong here.
Yeah, that could be.
Where's the blackbirds?
Yeah.
That year, he was unconscious everywhere he went. If it wasn't the blackbirds, it was something. He was having fun and catching fish everywhere he went.
Momentum comes up.
Momentum.
Okay. Momentum in fishing, Davey. I mean, do you? Oh, swinging a miss there, Timmy. Is it more like a baseball player saying, "I'm in the zone"?
Yeah.
Is it more like that, or is it more just a confidence I can do no wrong kind of thing?
I think both. It's funny you compared it to baseball. I've talked to some really good baseball players, and when they are on a hitting streak, and they say the ball looks like it's that big, as big as a volleyball.
Yeah.
They can just see the action, the movement on the ball, and just hit it. And then when you're in a slump, it looks like it's a golf ball coming at you. And bass fishing is the same way. The harder you try to correct a slump or try to get out of it, it seems like the more downhill it goes. In any sport, I think. A quarterback throwing a football, the more you start aiming, the more you start trying to
press,
the more the ball goes crazy. You just let it flow off your hands, and it's the same way with fishing. And it is real. So many people that don't know the sport don't think it's real in fishing. It is real in fishing as it is in any other sport.
$49 pounds and 5 ounces. Timmy Horton just about halfway to that century mark. Still some time left on this day. The century mark is one of those hard to obtain things. Absolutely. Here's the list of guys tournament winners who have joined the Century Club. Caught 100 pounds in a 4-day event. The most recent one, Keith Combs, back at Falcon Lake, and then we got Lake Okeechobee in 2012, and then on back through the years all the way to Dean Rojas and that incredible day on Lake Toho, incredible week on Lake Toho. A lot more to go. Bassmaster Live.
The ARE Truck Caps Bassmaster Elite at Lake Okeechobee is brought to you by Shell Rotella, Yamaha, Triton Boats, Toyota, Power Pole, and by Skeeter Boats. Continually proven on the tournament trail and with Skeeter owners everywhere with 14 consecutive NMMA CSI Consumer Satisfaction Awards. Our competition doesn't even come close. Right now, buy, save, fish with up to $1,500 in instant rebates through March 31st, including the newly redesigned limited edition FX series. Now is the best time to buy, save, fish. Skeeter.
Is there a place where the underwater images are the clearest you've ever seen? We're seeing every fish, we're seeing every detail of structure, and where every bottom contour was visible, where whatever you wanted to see below the surface was real. Do you want to go? Structure Scan 3D is the future of fishing. We can show you how to find fish faster and catch fish in a way you've never experienced. Let's get them.
Is this being in the moment? Is this hanging out? And is this really playing with your kid? Don't stop what you're doing to capture what you're doing. Keep running, keep playing, keep dancing. Just keep doing.
GoPro, start recording.
Champions aren't born, they're created. Every turn of the prop, every mile on the lake, every cast of the rod, every fish they catch, and every pound they weigh. It builds who they are. It builds a legacy.
For your 2016 Bassmaster Angler of the Year!
Facts matter. All monofilament is not the same. Berkley is the strongest, smoothest, most dependable monofilament line in the world. Why would you risk your fishing trip to a line that's made who knows where just to save a buck? Berkley has been making and perfecting trilene in America for over 75 years. I spool nothing less than the best. That's Berkley trilene, and that is a fact.
You're watching the Bassmaster Elite at Lake Okeechobee, brought to you live by Hook.
3-day event, opens and stuff. I've never had that much.
The location would be for the Geico Bassmaster Classic 2017, coming up here in a month now, and that's going to be Lake Conroe, about 45 minutes from Houston, Texas, up to the north, up Highway Interstate 45 there, and man, all we've been hearing is great stuff about Lake Conroe. What a fantastic, productive place it is. Everyone who's fished the big Toyota Bass Classic, Texas Bass Classic down there has sung its praises. Mercer spent a lot of time there. Everybody says it's one of the great spots, and this is a spot we're headed to at a time when we might intersect with some big old giants again, just like we've had out here today on Lake Okeechobee. That alone is reason to check it out. Geico Bassmaster Classic coming your way in 1 month's time here. We'll have all 3 days action here on Bassmaster Live. You can go to Houston and get some of it for yourself. Get into Minute Maid Stadium, Minute Maid Park, and watch the weigh-ins live. Go out to the launches. Enjoy the whole experience. TH Marine Weather Watch. Take a look at that real quick right now. No huge drastic changes in the weather that we know of right now. Tomorrow, 83, a little bit warmer. Low about 60 degrees. And a little bit cooler.
They bumped up the wind just a little bit.
Yeah, that wind is bumping up.
Northeast at 12, and if they, sometimes when they say 12, you have to double that.
Well, you don't want that.
And the northeast, that direction would really affect Timmy. If it blows much harder than 12, it could.
His water could deteriorate quickly.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Very important to watch that. Last year at the Classic, we just got done talking about the Classic being at Conroe. The whole reason Edwin Evers made that move was the wind. I talked about it all week, and the wind changed. It blew hard like it needed to in that clear water. Just the opposite could happen here on Sunday. If it blows, it's going to deteriorate for Timmy Horton.
Get it on your mind. Take a look at that wind speed when we crank things up on Sunday morning. Who knows where we'll be? Who will be the contenders at that time? Looks like Timmy Horton's definitely going to be one of them if he can get something similar to what he's had today, conditions-wise, tomorrow, why wouldn't he do well? But then again, you never know. Then again, you never know. You never know what's going to happen 1 minute to the next. Just like so many minutes we've said today.
Shocker.
Yeah, coming up next, just moments ago, Timmy Horton.
Cool, stay on it. All right, yes. Yes, yes, yes. That went real cool right there.
It's the first one he's caught in several hours that actually helped him.
Yeah.
That's one bad hook. No doubt.
But like he called the 4 for 3.
4 for 3,
4
yeah.
for 2 3/4. What did he have his smallest fish at?
Just 1 second.
Like it definitely helped him a pound.
Could have put him over the 50 point. You never know. Might be more than that. Could have put him up to 51.
Yep.
Won't know until it's all official. Weigh in at 3:15 Eastern Time. Over to Brett Hite.
No.
Yep, his
You're
smallest
cool
fish.
like me, be hanging out at boutiques.
I do hang out at the boutique. That's where I hang out with Russ.
Horton's smallest was a 3-pounder, and he has another 3-pounder in there, obviously, because they were equal on the bar.
Yes, sir. Just had to make a little change. Had to go to the secret spots. That'll cool. Had a baby. Home now. You kind of stink, buddy. That's a hog for today. But whatever. We still got some in there. Whoa. Easy hammer. Easy hammer. Man, look at those big ones. Okay, I'm done messing around. Let's go time. That one's small. It's between these two. I think it's green, I think. Ounces count. Yep, I was right. Green, she gone. All right. Right up here on old B.A.S.S mark. Isolated grass on the 360.
I talked about earlier.
You said that use the 360. Yeah.
And if we back that up at some point, if we need, that could be a game changer for him. I mean, he had fallen down like Ronnie said to 21st. When we went to him, he had just got to this area. You could tell whether by trolling motor or his outboard, and I saw him looking down, and he was looking for that isolated clump of grass with his 360. And we talked earlier about him fishing open water. What is he fishing? You could see that's a prime example. He got lined up. He could see that clump of grass out in front of him, and he made a cast to it and caught a fish that could certainly change his tournament. Has definitely changed his day.
Could catch 2 or 3 more right there, couldn't he?
Yep. Oh, yeah, sure. But he needed that. I mean,
my gosh, much
an
needed.
hour and a half ago, you could just see he was melting. And that's not like him at all. But that look, you can tell his posture right there. He looks, that one fish, that one bite that he found, that he's looking back at his 360 right there and just lining up on that isolated clump, expecting to catch another fish or two.
He calls it secret spot. Last week it was Wheeler calling him a sneaky hole. They played big. They've played big.
You ain't got no dot on that.
You ain't got no dot. Yeah, I do. I do too, dude.
No way. You crazy.
It's mine.
It's just incredible the way our sport has changed, the electronics especially. I'm old, but am I that old? I remember the Humminbird Super 60. If you knew how deep it was, boy, you were ahead of the field.
You were unbeatable.
Come so far with this sport. Along with the live coverage, who would have thought 20 years ago we'd be able to watch four guys catching them on Lake Okeechobee throughout the country.
I thought the day would never come when we could, I just said, well, golf's the limit. That's all the cable you got right there. We'll never be able to go live on a lake this size or even a lake the size of Cherokee.
Yeah. And a remote place like south end of Lake Okeechobee.
I'm still shocked how good the pictures are today.
My bag phone wouldn't even work there 10 years ago.
That Faircloth may have found a sneak hole. He's up to about 19 and a half, climbing from in the 70s to in the 20s.
Yeah, he's knocking on the top 20 here with 20 pounds.
He's one of those guys. He's such a good grass fisherman. You let him hang around until tomorrow, he'll bump somebody out of that top 12 if they're not careful. Some anglers just get better and better as they're able to spend more days on the water.
Well, he won last time around on the body of water Zona says is the most like this one.
Good
St.
point.
Clair.
Good point.
Todd Faircloth may be the man for the job.
Our biggest fall is Brandon Card. He was 11th. He just caught his second fish, and he was at 72nd. So,
oh my God,
he's got to do some fighting to climb back in.
He was someone who was disappointed at Cherokee, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, he was one of the favorites.
Yep, sure was.
Tennessee
Had a tough tournament there.
It still blows my mind to see Skeet Reese, Jacob Wheeler, Aaron Martins, Mike Iaconelli, Justin Lucas, Prosnick, like all in the 70s and 80s, like almost 2 tournaments in a row. Like it's so unprecedented how the standings have flip-flopped with these 2 conversing events,
It's a double-edged sword. Too much is given, much is expected.
Yeah.
Those names, you just expect those guys to always catch them, but they're going to prove a lake like Lake Okeechobee is going to make humans out of all of us every once in a while.
The numbers catch up with you after a while. You look at Justin Lucas, what runs he's made at Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year the last 2-3 years. And you think, no way he's going to bowl that far. But now he'd need some Hail Mary action to get back in that race.
Yeah.
You even look at Clunn, someone who won in Florida this last year.
Right.
109th place right now.
Good heavens.
It's a shame what happened to Shaw Grigsby yesterday, having to throw back that 8-pounder when he hooked it outside the mouth. He would have been up there. He had 8-10 yesterday. That 8 would have probably get him near 15, 16.
I had the same thing happen to me at Santee Cooper, one of those slugfest. Caught an 8-pounder outside the mouth. Fish was biting every cast, and you know, it just unfortunate that. And I was waiting, trying to make sure the fish had it. Hooked it outside the mouth. And boy, when you got one in the line, well, it weighs 1.5 pounds. It's depressing, but you know, it's rules of the game.
Yeah, that's just that's bad luck right there.
Yeah,
isn't it?
it is.
Well, we'll say every fish that's been hooked today has been voted. That doesn't happen every day on Bassmaster Live.
Oh, it sure doesn't, especially in this thick vegetation. But like we were talking earlier, it's not as thick as it was in 2012.
No,
it's
real
far.
different pictures from 2012, isn't it?
Yeah. Although that first 8-pounder Timmy called, it was.
Touch and go.
Here we go. Hooked up again. Big one.
That's a big one. Just one more. Just one more. Yes, yes.
Wow.
Oh, yes. Now we don't have a small one. Oh, man, you're talking about one just sitting there and holding it. Oh, my gosh. It's a 6. Let's see here. How about that call? How about that call? Oh, yes. Yes.
Wow.
I'm sitting here thinking I got one area I'm gonna go try that I caught an 8 on in practice. It ain't that far. I think we'll just sit right here. Oh, yes. Now we got 30. Oh, let me tell you. Lauren, Leah, Kim.
How you feeling, man? How you feeling?
That one was for y'all. Oh, dude, I'm stoked right now. Oh, my gosh. Got line tied up everywhere. That. And that's what I've been waiting on all. And that's the first one that set hook on and he came right out.
Are you thinking about eating some pizza?
We're not even close to eating pizza with my good buddy Art Defoe smoking them like he is. Stephen Browning, all those guys. Oh my goodness. Now, if we can call a 4-pounder. Oh. Pizza would be good.
Oh, God, is he feeling it or what?
Oh.
Let me get right there just a second.
That might be the quote of the day. Pizza would be good.
Pizza would be good. Get it on your mind. Talked about Ott Defoe catching him today. Maybe not. Ott's not catching him quite as much as Tim thinks he is, but this was Ott Defoe just moments ago.
I think he'll help, but he ain't what I was looking for. I could tell he wasn't what I was looking for because he wasn't strong enough to pull me, heavy enough to pull me back down in there. be a cold, though, ain't no doubt. Yeah, pretty easy to see which one that is.
Timmy Horton, Ott Defoe duking it out, Tennessee versus Alabama. That'd be a great SEC matchup right there.
Both good
in
guys.
basketball.
Yeah.
If Horton says he has 30, that means he's at like 56 pounds for 2 days, which means he's got plenty of slack if his weights drop a little bit to get to that Century Club. That's crazy.
We should have listened to Davey.
Yeah, I tried to tell you
that's
guys.
Just what that's why he's here. That's why he's the pro.
You guys just need to listen, man.
I know. If we just shut up and listen once in a while.
And he's got, I'm still showing on Bass Track. Have I not updated that showing 23.14? He's got more than that.
Oh my gosh.
He probably hasn't. The cameraman hasn't put it in yet.
26 pounds if he got an ounce.
He says 30, and that counts for something.
Yeah.
His smallest is now a 4, so he'd have to catch something bigger than a 4 to cull now.
I need to answer this question right quick. Got
Okay.
a tweet from Jack in California. For us California guys, explain what a shiner pole is. I knew some guys didn't know what they were, but I guess it'd be hard to understand. Maybe it's a pole that you catch shiners with.
Yeah.
It sort of is. You know, we talked about people fishing with live shiners at Lake Okeechobee and a lot of lakes in Florida. So there's a market for people to go catch them and sell them for like $100 a dozen. They're very expensive.
Big
so
old shiners, big ones.
The guys mark these areas, and like I mentioned, a lot of times they'll be on an outside edge or an inside edge of a grass line. They're almost always on hard bottom where those shiners like to be, along with the bass. They mark the spot with the shiner pole, and then they'll make their rounds once or twice a day, and they'll move up to this pole, and they'll put bait out for the shiners, little meal, fish meal, and sit there for, you know, anywhere from 5 minutes to 20 or 30 minutes, depends on how active the shiners are. And they will come to this bait that they bait, you know, a couple times a day. And they sit there with a 10, sometimes 12-foot cast net. And when the shiners get attracted to the area because of the bait, not the pole is just there for a mark. Then they'll throw that cast net, catch the shiners, take them to the bait shop, sell them to the fishermen. You know, it's just a cool way for guys to make a living that can throw a cast net that well. I've tried throwing 12-foot cast net. I was starved to death throwing shiner poles, that's for sure. Timmy Horton looks like he's fishing with shiners today compared to the other guys.
No kidding. Compared to the rest of this field?
It's incredible how he has just caught them all day long. Hasn't lost a fish either, has he?
No. I mean, no. Nobody has that we've watched.
That's incredible. I know I probably just jinxed someone.
I figured I had when I mentioned it a little while ago.
The guy's hit 43 free throws in a row, and you know he's going to miss that next one. Timmy mentioned that last fish he caught. I don't know if y'all heard this, but he said something about that fish. He's talking about one just sitting, holding.
Yeah, what was he talking about there?
Those fish are like I say, a lot of these fish will be spawning fish that are just reacting to these baits, and they're where they want to be. So if they do react to that bait and inhale that bait, they don't swim away. They don't, they just hold it right in their mouth. And so many fishermen, that aren't as experienced as these guys for sure.
The water too, didn't he?
They'll pull the bait out of several fish's mouth a day, including a 6-pounder like that, because they just didn't thump it or move with the bait.
Or didn't feel it.
You just feel something heavy, you think, oh, that's another reed, and you just pull it right out of their mouth. But you have to pay close attention, especially doing what he's doing. Those fish aren't necessarily going to just whop it, and they're not going to move off 3 feet when they bite it. They'll just hold the bait and sit in place, and you have to be real careful not to pull it away from that fish. And it could be a 6-pounder, just like the one he just caught.
That's why for years and years you hear people talking about, what does the bite feel? It feels like you got a pair of wet socks on there, or something like that.
Or a reed, or it feels so similar to a piece of grass, or oop.
Oh my.
Oh, man, he shook that reed. I thought I had a big one. Got a little excited.
A 2-pounder shook the reed. The 6-pounder didn't move, just held it.
First time I've seen the reed shake, and it wasn't a big fish. I mean, it was, whew.
Shaw just caught a 6-pounder.
You literally see that before you feel the strike.
Shaw Grigsby with a 6-pounder. Andy Montgomery with 19 keepers today.
Yes, sir.
Brett Height may be getting on to something sneaky there in the final hour and a half of fishing here on the Big O, Lake Okeechobee. Defoe wanting to be a little bit bigger, but man, who went big today? Easy to answer that one.
Yes.
Timmy Horton is the man who's giving the people what they want to see on this day 2 on Okeechobee.
Now we don't have a small.
A lot more Bassmaster Live. Well, 30 minutes more.
Man, it's slow today.
Yep.
Mom, I caught a fish.
Good job, sweetie.
Hey, what kind of lure is that?
It's a Livingston. They have electronic bait fish sounds that activate as soon as they hit the water. Easiest way to catch a fish.
Hey, thanks.
Think you could win valuable prizes from Bassmaster? You can't know unless you enter, and entering is easy. Go to Bassmaster.com. Enter now for a chance to win a fishing trip with 2016 Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year Gerald Swindle. Trip includes airfare, rental car, hotel, and $500 cash, plus a Triton 17 TX bass boat, Mercury engine, and Gerald's gear from Humminbird, Minn Kota, GoPro, and more. You, the winner of a valuable prize? Could be. All you have to do to get your shot is go to Bassmaster.com and enter today and every day. Hey, it could be you.
thanks, Dave.
Out of office?
Oh, man. Hi, this is Skeet.
Skeet, out of office?
Dude, don't be mad because I thought of it.
What?
I gotta go. I got someone on the other line. Go to teamgtfishing.com to check out my real job.
We're supposed to be working.
I am working.
You're watching the Bassmaster Elite at Lake Okeechobee, brought to you live by Hook.
Oh, we're rolling up on it. Geico Bassmaster Classic from Lake Conroe out in Texas. Our field has been set for a couple of months now. In fact, people are qualifying for the 2018 Classic as we speak now, but we got a very important one, the 2017 Geico Bassmaster Classic to knock out, and it's going to be a knockout. George R. Brown Convention Center is where we're going to find the Classic Expo presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Always great. This one is promised to be the biggest yet, biggest and best yet. It's certainly worth seeing. Every expo at the Classic has got a lot to recommend it. You're going to see the big names in the sport. You're going to see what's newest in the sport, all the top names, all the top manufacturers, all the categories represented there at the George R. Brown Convention Center at the expo across from Minute Maid Field, where they're going to have the weigh-in. Who will we see at that weigh-in? Who is qualified? The 2017 Geico Bassmaster Classic. There's our Elite Series anglers as we start the list right there. Headed up by our defending champion, Edwin Evers. He's probably glad to see the Classic come around. He's ready to get more into the World Championship mode here.
It'd be good to change that momentum after the start of the first two Elites that he didn't want with another Classic victory, that's for sure.
That's a good point. Get the mojo changed up a little bit. Keith Combs, one of the favorites coming into here. Randall Tharp, I think a lot of people pick him to do well at the Bassmaster Classic, and a lot of people, including our buddy Mark Zona, picking Jason Christie to perhaps be the guy who's standing atop it all at the end of 3 days of fishing. Drew Benton, Rookie of the Year. Florida, Takahiro Omori, former Classic champ and a Texas guy. Ditto for Alton Jones right there, so two Classic champs from Texas.
Alton Jones will be one that you better watch in that tournament.
Man, oh my gosh, can he find a little creek and get back in there and just wear them out? Absolutely he can do that. He's with Fibra. Out here last year with the Elite Series, did very well. Shaw Grigsby, he's caught a big one here. The Big O, Okeechobee, Brent Ayler. Another good pick. So those are our Elite Series anglers, 40 of them who qualified for the Bassmaster Classic. Ish Monroe, the last elite guy in that field right there. Looking forward to it in a big way. Qualifiers from the Bass Pro Shops, Bassmaster Opens. Wes Strader, we know him from the FLW, old buddy from over there. Jesse Wiggins did so great. Cherokee, I thought he was going to win that thing, Davey.
And is qualified for two Classics.
Our pal Charlie Hartley, Cliff Crochet, the Cajun baby in there, Skylar Hamilton from Tennessee, Little Alton Jones in that, Will Hardy from Georgia as well. Those are our qualifiers from the Open circuit, Bass Pro Shops, Bassmaster Opens. And we got other qualifiers. That's not it. I mean, we got some more on the list too. Let's take a look at the other qualifiers. The Bass Nation qualifiers, Ryan Levine, another Louisiana guy rising to the top. Daryl Okamika from out west, Idaho guy in the Classic. We don't get that very often. Timothy Klinger from Nevada. John Garrett, pretty strong college qualifier right there. I know, Ronnie, you'd back me up on that.
For sure.
Scott Clift, Missouri. The qualifying member from his team. That's the way they worked that one right there.
No matter what route those guys took to make that Classic, it was tough. Every route.
Oh my gosh, Bass Nation guys! Oh my gosh,
the old-fashioned way.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. No one gets a free ride to the Classic. You can't win it out of a cereal box. No. That's where our Rapala 4 Live are fishing. We follow them all day long, and boy, it's been fun to watch, especially Tim Horton.
I've enjoyed watching all of the guys and the way they've adjusted, but. Just plain and simple, it's fun watching the guy that's catching the most.
Oh, my God.
Like I mentioned, I taught all 4 of these Rapala 4 last night. Super guys, had good conversations with all of them. But Timmy Horton is just having a fun day out there for sure. He's been catching them all day long. They're more aggressive now than they were this morning. This morning he was keeping his bait in one spot longer, raising the rods 4 or 5 times. Now he's making long pitches, raises his rod once or twice. If he don't bite it, he moves. It's just gotten better and better for him as the day moved on. Unlike the other 3 guys, it's gotten tough since mid-morning. They've really struggled, just catching small fish.
River fishing, conventional reservoirs, all the places we see on Bassmaster Live, there's usually between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, just not much doing. But this Okeechobee, like we say, it's a different animal. Yep. It's a different place.
For
you find the right situation. Yeah, for this one guy.
For sure.
Who's in the right place at the right time.
And it's not that other guys aren't getting bites. It's just the quality bites will slow down on Lake Okeechobee for most of the guys, after the morning bite goes away. And Ott's caught as many as Timmy, but
maybe more
they're
keepers.
1 and 2 pounders.
Yeah. So does it matter, Davey, of Timmy is just targeting the spots where they're fetched up on right now?
Yeah,
he's found that right ring of far enough out and far enough in.
Yeah, they're all targeting good spots. These 4, the Rapala 4 we've got the camera on. I mean, they had a great day yesterday. They all were around good fish yesterday, but as we've talked about today, Lake Okeechobee, those bigger fish, some days they'll move in and some days they move out, and you just hope you're in Timmy's position. He's obviously in a place where more quality females are moving in versus moving out, and these other 3 are catching males, predominantly just little small males, and Timmy's caught, most of his bites have been 3+ pounds all day long.
Went to one spot without much success. First thing early this morning, didn't spend much time there, made that one move, and this area is where he has been all day. I wish we had a breadcrumb trail, to look at and see how far he's actually traveled.
He hasn't moved a whole lot.
No, would you say he's stayed within the same square mile, close to it?
Yeah, close to it, I think. I can tell a little about the background, from being there in the past, and he stayed in one general area for sure.
Jordan Lee's doing it again. He just caught a couple decent-sized keepers up to 16.5. He should be climbing in the top 12.
Boy, he's been an amazing fisherman the last few years for sure. Just finds a way to get in there.
Yeah.
Every event, it seems. Just keeps doing better the more time he spends on the water.
I think most people are surprised he hasn't won one yet.
Yeah, me included.
Shows how hard it is to win one.
Yeah, it does. It does. David Fritz up in 7th place.
About that.
Wow.
Jordan ended his season last year with 4 straight top 12s. And he had 5 overall because he started the year with the top 12 at the St. John's. So he's proven it every state, basically.
That is, for people that haven't fished the Bassmaster Elite Trail, that is so hard to do, make 4 straight top 12s. That is quite an accomplishment for an angler as young as he is.
So unlikely.
All right, Davey, are we looking at the Century Club for sure now?
Absolutely, I told you guys for 2 days.
Killing me.
I told you guys you needed to listen to him.
Yeah. Tommy's the only one that trusted what I told you guys.
Yeah. I'm not a
Were
doubter.
you not paying attention?
I was asked to ask.
Yeah, we are definitely looking at the Century Club. Now, even though Timmy is, got way more than 52 pounds, so he's certainly well over halfway. If the forecast was different and the wind was supposed to be blowing out of the northeast at 15 to 20 the next 2 days, I'd say, no, it's not going to happen. You guys were right. You said it wasn't going to happen, but I'm sticking with my original guess, over 100 pounds.
That's how it works.
Yeah, well, that's the way it goes.
That's our justice system.
We must have had our heads in Swindle's beard or something. We didn't hear you.
Gotcha.
We didn't hear you say that proclamation.
I think you were distracted.
You guys sit behind those computers trying to create that fake news. Isn't that what they call it, Tommy? Fake news.
Yeah, that's right.
I've been telling the truth the whole time.
Yeah,
I think Davey's sandbagging. He still has the angler in him. He's sandbagging here on the set, saying he was.
Could be.
I was gonna tell you, people were tweeting that they really enjoy your stories and you're breaking down on the water, but now I'm not gonna.
Oh.
Well, I appreciate that.
He's like Harry Truman. They said, give him hell, Harry. And Harry Truman said, I just give them the truth and they think it's hell.
That's great. That's great.
So, last time we were here in 2012, Ish had that giant lead on day one, or, a 10-pound plus lead, and got caught going into that final day. After day two, Timmy could have a double-digit lead as well. And that's he's gaining steam. It wasn't like he started out strong and started fading. He's gaining steam. So is that a little scarier for you, or?
That steam, we saw it kind of come out of Brad Height this morning. That steam can be released.
Ooh, yeah.
With a couple hours of 1-pounders. There's a couple guys right there that even though we talked earlier, look like they're a long way back. It's all relative to the body of water that you're on. 10 pounds is really not a huge lead on Lake Okeechobee. 10 pounds after day two on some bodies of water, the Delaware River for one, would be insurmountable. But it's, certainly I would like to be in Timmy's spot, with that lead. I'm not trying to belittle that at all, but there's some guys, there's lots of guys that can catch him. It's not quite halftime yet, guys.
No, it's not.
I always talk about the 4-day event is like 4 quarters of football. You go in with the lead at halftime thinking you got it done, and with a spread offense, things can change in a hurry.
We stand here right now. It doesn't seem likely, but it's entirely possible these two could switch roles tomorrow.
Yep.
Could absolutely happen.
Sure could.
What happened last time with the Chris Lane coming on?
Yep. Sure. On day 3. Absolutely.
Yep. Like Matt Ryan and Tom Brady.
That's right. That's right.
That was a big lead that
oh my gosh.
a lot of people thought there was no way even Brady and Belichick could overcome that, and they did.
What in the world happened there?
Ott Defoe's such a versatile fisherman. When I talked to him last night, he's like, I'm catching a few off the bed, I'm catching some on Terminator Frog, I'm catching some flipping, I'm catching some swimming a jig. And we've seen him do all those things today. And to think he could catch the numbers that he's caught today, and I don't think he's had a big bite. Like you said, and we haven't seen a single angler lose a fish. You just ask yourself, how could it happen? Catch 2 8-pound, 6-ounce bass yesterday and can't get a 6-pound bite today.
It's hard to believe. You're right, he is a versatile guy. I mean, you think about him, you remember him on the Alabama River, finding water moving a little faster, a little bit more quality water, and winning that tournament there, going up to La Crosse. And fishing with a bunch of guys right there in that spillway, and he found the one thing that separated himself from the pack.
Fishing up here, another chance. Not only was he fishing with a bunch of guys in that event that were fishing that spillway, I'll be willing to bet 100 guys practiced at that place. I mean, it's
a community hole supreme up there, right?
Including myself.
You too. Wow.
To figure out how to catch those fish, the same deal that everybody else, couldn't figure out is impressive. Because a lot of times, like Timmy, where he's at, even though it's known to produce big bags, 30-pound bags, I'm guessing, maybe half the field at most fish that mile area, But for the whole field, basically, to practice a one-cast spot, like a pipe, like where Ott Defoe called his fish, that's incredible to figure that out.
Live still on, or we done with that?
Still on, Timmy.
All right. We can stay all day.
He's about to go to his big fish spot. If we
that's right. Yeah, if we just look away for a minute.
Cull up another 7 pounds.
Tell this cameraman that we're off of him, even though we're not. He'll go to his big fish spot. You heard him so quietly say, I'm sure glad y'all are still on me.
Oh, yeah. Not
just tell them the truth. And what was that saying?
And gave him, you just tell them the truth and they think it's hell. Weigh-in coming up, Bassmaster.com, right here, 3:15 p.m. That's Eastern Time.
Okay, real quick, some of the guys that you guys thought were going to have a great chance to win this tournament, that time's running out, they're not going to be fishing anymore after today. What's some of the names? Chris Lane, probably the biggest one that jumps out.
Yeah, him and Ish.
Yeah.
Last time.
First and second last time here. And where are they at now? That just shows how good the competition is, that a total different pack of guys. If they find the right fish, these elite fishermen, they're going to catch them.
Chris
Lane, 88th.
Yeah, 88th for Lane and 63rd for Monroe. You got the Scroggins, Drew Benton, who's won here before at the pro level. Sounded like a hook set for a second.
Still haven't heard from Elton Jones and Matt Herron, those two we talked about a little earlier, so who knows whether they're part of the scene or not. Could be. Iconelli, 80th place.
I think a sneaky guy right now is Randall Tharp. He's been so consistent right there at the top 12 spot. No giant jumps. So one real good fish could probably get him a pretty good cold, because he probably has a 2 to 3 pounder still in his box.
Yeah, I've been saying all week, you better keep a camera on or around that guy, because he could have his 30-pound day tomorrow.
Brent Chapman, Dave Lefebvre, two guys they talked about would have a good chance here. Both going to be struggling to make the cut.
They talked about Matt Herron being among the favorites, and he is way down there.
Social media following pretty closely what's going on here today. How about that photo of Dean Rojas?
That's no fake smile there, is it? That's all joy.
That is genuine. That is pure bliss right there.
Buddy.
That is a big largemouth bass right there. Look at Bobby Lane.
Big fish, Bobby Lane. That is a nice one.
From yesterday's weigh-in.
That's a beautiful fish. Look at the color. It's like
a great photo. It looks like an Overstreet photo to me for some reason.
Yeah.
If that's a Marshall photo, hats off to that Marshall. Stephen Browning. Earlier today. One of the first ones he caught.
Yep. Jesse Wiggins. Looks like his boat there.
Yeah.
It's what they're after.
Well, someone would love to have their hands on that. We talk about all day long how hard it is to win out here against these guys, and it gets harder with each passing year.
Sunday afternoon, somebody will grab it, and they might make a knee slide.
They might. That's
they
right.
Might dance.
It might be a little easier this year because Davey Height's not out there. Might be a little easier this year by a degree or two.
Speaking to Jesse Wiggins, about 10 minutes ago, he caught a 5+ pounder, and he's back up near that cut, above that cut line, so he might make his second consecutive cut.
Well, we might not have time today, but tomorrow I want to talk. I had a long conversation with Jesse Wiggins. I am so impressed by his fishing skills last tournament there at Cherokee, and the way he managed his fish, even though it didn't quite work out. But boy, he's a good guy. I will tell you real quick one thing.
That's a giant.
Oh, giant.
That's a big one. Oh, stay hooked.
It's out. He's got it.
Ooh. Oh, I thought he was bigger than that. Oh, man, I thought he was a 7 or 8. I don't even know if he'll call. I don't even know what we got. Yeah, he'll definitely call that one I swung in.
I was going to say, that fish
4-pounder,
don't
right? Oh my gosh, yeah.
I was thinking 4.5.
Just don't remember where he was. Oh, I thought that was one of them big ones. Just a 5-pounder.
It's close to. That fish is small.
Let me get under you right there.
Cliff Prince just back-to-back 4.5, 5.4. He's up to 21.2 and climbing in our top 5.
I'm not saying anything, but Russ Lane did the same thing and went back to back, and he's at 19 pounds. So maybe day 2 comeback.
He's getting well.
Yeah.
He's about 36 right now.
Yeah, he definitely calls. Oh gosh, yes. And we gained a pound right there. Oh my goodness. Let me get right. That's what I'm talking about. Oh my goodness. About time to go.
Come on, one more.
I got 32. Clone cross them, got the boom scent. Just smoking that thing. Oh my goodness. I'm excited, I'm tired, I'm pumped, feeling everything. Debating not catching another one because I'm gonna need them. Oh, I thought that was a giant. Oh my goodness.
He's smelling victory now. A lot of things rolling through his mind right now.
I'm gonna tell you, it's pretty cool, like working a lot of different things with a lot of the different pros. My good friend Gary Klein designed this flipping stick, and it is just, And it's lights. Stay on. He's on there. He's not big. Oh, he come off. It's about a 4. It was weird. Come off and I could see the bait sitting there. Man. Pretty cool when you're glad a 4-pounder gets off. Did you see him? That's cool. Oh my goodness. Give it 5 more minutes. We're out of here.
I just want to watch him. I don't know.
I don't want to
leave. We
leave.
can't say anything that'd be any more exciting than what he's the seminar, the show that he has put on today. He has really caught them all day long, where the other 3 have just struggled.
Well, not many doubts about what our power pole replay today is. Actually, you just got to choose which one from Timmy Horton is the one. What a privilege it's been to watch him manhandle these big, giant Florida largemouth bass today. To catch a 30-pound plus bag of fish is not something you get to watch on TV unfold before your eyes during the course of a day, but we were lucky enough to have it happen for us today, and Timmy Horton made it all happen.
You know, if I could watch the live coverage while I was fishing the Elite Series, I think I'd be a lot better. It's like watching Texas Hold'em when you can see the other guy's card.
Absolutely.
I think I could compete to win every tournament if I could watch you guys every day.
I love that. I love that. Timmy Horton's got to love this day today. He will never forget this day on the Big O, that's for sure.
Not his first rodeo, though.
No,
he won here in 04.
Oh, man.
And he's feeling it. He's going to be tough to beat.
Absolutely.
Even on Okeechobee, where anybody can catch big ones. I don't think he's going to let up. And the same thing with Ish in 2012. Chris Lane made a heck of a run, but he just never let up.
No. He knew what was up. He knew what time it was, and he got out there and got it done on the final day. And like you said, Timmy Horton's one of those guys. If he gets around him, he's one who can exploit him. He is not going to slip and fall. He's going to bring it to the house. Such, I don't know, what do they call the main picture on the front of a web page?
Feature 1.
The feature 1. I can tell you, make a prediction what the feature 1 for tomorrow is going to be. It'll be the repeat of yesterday where you get the Mercer and Trip treatment, everybody holding up your fish. That's what they're going to have with Timmy Horton up on front of Bassmaster.com tomorrow. Take a look at that and put 3 more out there with Trip and Dave doing it. Dave's going to be having the weigh-in for us. Coming up here at 3:15 Eastern Time. That's when it all starts. Not much time left. I don't know how long it's going to take Timmy to get back, but he's close to leaving. We're close to leaving. We're going to get out of here. We'll be back here tomorrow with more Bassmaster Live.
Yes. How about that cool?